This is Adelaide's FIVEAA.
Mostly sunny and 23 today. With the 6 o'clock news, I'm Mel Usher. There's expected to be a strong police presence around the Adelaide Convention Centre again today. Extinction Rebellion protesters will return to the site as a 3-day oil and gas conference is held inside. 2 women were arrested yesterday and charged with loitering. Organiser Chris Johnson says they want to be heard.
It's deliberate. It's targeted at the fossil fuel industry, and we're really wanting to wedge apart the deep ties that our government has with that industry.
In Victoria, the immediate flood threat has passed in Shepparton, but residents face days or even weeks before they can return to their damaged homes. Parts of the Riverland are underwater as the flooding emergency interstate begins to hit home. The water flow into SA has put the Murray at its highest level since 2016, when daily flows reached 95 gigalitres. Loxton Mayor Leon Stasinowski says the peak is expected to hit sometime next month.
Look, we don't know how much more is going to come because of all the rain interstate. It will be probably over 100 or just around that area. Still got a long way to go before the caravan park is properly out. Yes, we've lost the ones down the bottom.
More than 100 of the best-known clothing companies in Australia aren't paying workers who make their clothes enough to afford the basics. A new ethical fashion report has given brands including Novo Shoes, Nine West and Whitner a 0 in the category. Companies making progress include Kmart and Country Road. There are concerns about a serious decline in writing standards among Australian students. Katie Fuller explains.
An analysis of 10 million NAPLAN test results is sparking concerns Year 9 students are structuring sentences at a level 2 years their junior. Only a quarter of the cohort used commas, apostrophes and colons correctly. The Australia Education Research Organisation found standards have declined in every key skill area except spelling over 7 years to 2018. Teachers are also no longer as confident in teaching writing skills, which experts say are crucial for life.
At least 4 people have been killed and many more have been injured after a military aircraft crashed in Russia. The plane was on a training flight when one of its engines caught fire. It came down in a residential area, sparking a fire at a multi-storey apartment block. And Russia has struck the Ukrainian city of Kiev with Iranian-made explosive drones in an early morning attack. The BBC's Hugo Bershaga reports.
We had an update from the Chief of Staff of the Presidential Office saying that so-called kamikaze drones have been used in these attacks. These are drones that have been provided by the Iranians to the Russians, and Russia has been using those drones to attack targets across the country. And in recent weeks, we've seen that Russia has been targeting critical civilian infrastructure, especially power stations, electricity, transmission lines.
Another event at next year's Adelaide Festival has been announced. Lord will play the Village Green at Adelaide Oval on March 16. It'll be the singer's first show here since 2014. The first tickets for Festival Friends go on sale this morning. Now to FIVEAA Sport.
10-year warranty and 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
And it's good morning to Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Mel. We'll start with cricket. Australia's heading into its T20 World Cup title defence without a win in its past 4 encounters. The Aussies going down to India by 6 runs in the final warm-up match before Saturday's opener against New Zealand. There was some good news with skipper Aaron Finch getting some much-needed runs, blasting 76 from only 54 balls. He says the chase indicated to the team they need to be more clinical at the back end of the innings.
I think it's somewhere that we've probably haven't capitalised in the last probably 3 or 4 chances we've had to chase down totals. I thought our bowling effort was fantastic to drag them back after a blistering start from KL in the power play. He got off to a flyer as he can do.
The West Indies have started their campaign with a shock 42-run loss to Scotland, while Zimbabwe beat Ireland by 31 runs in Hobart. Meantime, South Australia's bowlers have got them back into the contest against Tasmania on day 2 of their Shield clash at Adelaide Oval. Wes Agar led the way with 4 wickets as the Tigers were dismissed for 245, giving them only a slender first innings lead of 18 runs. But SA's in early trouble in its second innings, finishing day 2 at 2 for 21. To football, Ross Lyon's a step closer to returning to coach St Kilda after a 4-hour marathon meeting with the club's hierarchy. Lyon confirmed his interest as he emerged from club president Andrew Bassett's Bayside home. Saints chief executive Simon Lethlean also attended the meeting. And the New York Yankees have forced a deciding Game 5 in their playoff series against Cleveland after a 4-2 win in Game 4. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast, partly cloudy 23 today, partly cloudy tomorrow 23, Thursday a shower or two but also 23. Right now it's 15 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
6 after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Tuesday on 5AA Breakfast. Already had a bit of rain today. It wasn't in the forecast. Otherwise, it's meant to look like a pretty good day, but we'll get you up to speed with what the Bureau are predicting. Weather, of course, is the story of Australia at the moment. We'll be crossing over to the eastern states a little bit later in the morning for an update on the flood situation. Areas around Echuca, northern Victoria, are those that have been among the hardest hit and also have a pretty complicated and difficult forecast for the rest of the week as well, with a lot more rain predicted to come. So we'll cross there and get you across that. Of course, it's all connected. So there are now concerns about what it's going to mean for the Riverland here in South Australia, albeit the businesses and communities of the Riverland are quick to point out there's no flooding here. Please don't cancel your holidays if you're coming, but we need to be aware of what they're calling a high flow event. And we'll talk more about that and cross to the Riverland here in South Australia a little bit later. In the morning, we'll get across all the other big stories happening around Adelaide and the world. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. Bit of a cliche, the old term slow motion car crash, but if the worst does happen with the Murray, it's probably going to be about 6 to 8 weeks away, they're saying. So it's not like it's a sudden deluge, like, it's not like a dam wall bursting, although that might be a poor analogy given the other story kicking around about Mount Bold Reservoir, but it's not like people are going to be caught off guard tsunami style by this.
No, good preparations can be made. That's
but
a
if
good
this
point.
rain continues, I mean, what does it mean for people with shacks? What does it mean for the Christmas period? People will be going on leave in exactly 8 weeks' time, is the sort of middle of December. There'll be a lot of people because shack ownership in South Australia is a huge thing, and there's a lot of cheap and cheerful weatherboard shacks that people have had in their families for generations. Lucky people who picked them up for a song years ago, people who split the cost of a shack, down at Goolwa or up at Waikerie, or people love water skiing. It's a huge part of South Australian life for a lot of folks. So, yeah, it's full on, isn't it?
You're right about how slow moving it is, and there's been some good reporting on this overnight about what the impact will be here in South Australia. So last Friday, the Department of Environment said the flow into the Murray at the Victorian SA border was about 79 gigalitres a day. So it was 79, okay, which is safe, fine, nothing to worry about. They think it'll increase to around 90 a day in mid-November. That's starting to get more serious because 95 gigalitres a day is what we had, is the highest we've had since 2016 with regard to the Murray. Now, historically, you get up somewhere in the mid-hundreds. 170 a day is the high water mark, quite literally. The 1974 floods were about 170 gigalitres a day, which is the equivalent in that traditional way of measuring water, Olympic swimming pools. 68,000 swimming pools of water every single day crossing the border. But that gives you a bit of a sense. We're creeping up towards problematic, but we're a long way from being there yet.
I think the old, that's the equivalent of X number of swimming pools, is one of the least useful sort of, and there's no way I can conceptualise vast amounts of water. I tap out at about 2 litres of chicken stock, which are making, 3 times the amount of risotto that you normally make for a crowd. 2 litres, 10 litres, because 10 litres is a watering can. So you might have 50 mils of Roundup, then you've got to put 10 litres of water in. Anything above 10 litres, I'm out.
Well, the measure itself, I think, is a bit... I mean, I don't know. I was never good at sport. Maybe other people had a different experience growing up, but I don't remember knocking...
Yes, you were. I've seen the basketball video.
I don't remember ever being in an Olympic-sized swimming pool. A pool with 8 lanes?
Yeah, what about Marion Pool?
I've never been to Marion Pool.
Haven't you?
Nah.
Didn't you do your survival certificate as a kid?
Yeah, but that would have been at, Seaton Swim Centre or something.
Oh, one of those indoor ones.
Yeah, it would have been little. Yeah.
Oh, no, we were out there in freezing cold conditions jumping in the Olympic-sized pool at Marion. That was
right.
Every single kid at my school. We all went there and it was freezing. We had to jump in our clothes.
Oh, this is
with their shoes on.
We've talked about this before. This is the pool divide of Adelaide. There is the sort of Barassi line or the Goiter line. There's the pool line of Adelaide, where at some point in time, you're so west that the beach has been your pool.
Well, yeah, that's right. Well, Mitchell Park, we weren't far from the beach.
No, you're not far there.
Brighton was our local beach. We always go down there. But no, the Marion Pool, I reckon that opened in about 1978, maybe earlier. But yeah, there was no thought given to how cold it was. And in hindsight, I don't know why I was such a wuss when I went down to Henley the other day.
You weren't a wuss, you did it.
Yeah, I didn't do it very well.
No, that's...
What was it, 18 seconds? Maybe not quite that. Sam knows.
How scared was Neil Armstrong when he went and set foot on the moon? Nobody knows, nobody cares. He did it. And you jumped in the water that day.
True.
See, that's all the history books say. Did he do it? Yes.
Exactly. Well, I'm out of the baby race.
You are. Unless it's something that's happened as we speak that I'm not aware of.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. Your phone's not on silent, is it?
That'd be tough to explain, wouldn't it?
Oh. There is a chance it could happen during a show.
There's every chance. During a show. What's the best time? When did you now you were a half-time in the footy most recently, were you?
Yeah, actually, Charlie, he was half-time of the Adelaide Geelong game in 2017.
I wonder who of our listeners has had the most surprising or inconvenient timing of getting the call it's time to go to the hospital.
We were at the function.
Yes.
I was in a suit. Kate was all dolled up. And she's sitting there and she looks at me and she goes, "Oh dear."
Oh dear.
Yeah. But we stayed for a quarter, even though she was in labour, because it was a pretty good game.
Second baby. She was a veteran by that point.
Yeah. Not the first one. No. The first one we got to the hospital early. That was crazy.
If I did that...
That happened we're at Barbecue City in Goodger Street, having a birthday dinner for Jimbo, who was then turning 9. And being a 9-year-old, he was quite sort of possessive about his birth date, because all along, Kate's due date was like April 11, and Jim's birthday is April 8. So on April the 7th, in the evening, we're at dinner, and Kate looks at me and she goes, "Oh, I think it started." And it's like, alrighty. So I rang Mum and Dad, said, "Can we bring the kids down?" And then in the car, Jim was really cross-examining me, going, "So, Dad, if Kate's in labour now, does that mean the baby's going to come tonight?" Because that was like April 7th. I said, "Well, mate, it's 8 o'clock." I said, "Babies tend to take a little bit longer than that to come out, so it's probably going to be tomorrow." He goes, "Yeah, but like, tomorrow's my birthday." Like, yeah. But the thing isn't quite a sexist way. His other wish was, he said, "I've got 2 wishes. I don't want it to be born on my birthday, and I don't want it to be a girl.
Okay.
I want a brother." So I got to ring him that day and say, "Mate, I've got good news and I've got bad news." Good news is you got a brother. Bad news is he's born on your birthday.
He's sharing the birthday.
But now they love it. And in quite a few years' time, they're going to have their 21st and 30th birthdays will be on the same day. That could be a bit of an extravaganza.
Oh, yeah. And then they got the Penberthy party blood flowing through their veins. That will be quite something, I imagine. 15 after 6, 8223 is that name. You can text us on the Automasters text line. Mark in Para Hill says, at Henley Jetty way back, there was an outside swimming pool with salt water. Very open and very cold. Ripped down later in the 70s. So we're a feature of beaches right across Australia, and still plenty of them in Sydney and the northern beaches, but you don't see them here in South Australia as much anymore.
No.
Rob says, didn't we used to get as units of measurement also, thus is X amount of Sydney harbours? Yeah, that's just as useless. I don't know how much water's in the Sydney harbour either.
You might as well say that's the equivalent of 14 billion shots of tequila.
That's actually probably easy to conceptualise.
That's true.
Wally the Walnut says, guys, wouldn't the Murray River flood help the silting problem at the Murray mouth?
Well, it would.
Yeah, it would. Geez, the Murray mouth. I've got to say, I was at Goolwa a couple of weeks ago, and it's looking pretty healthy.
Oh, it's stunning. It's extraordinary. It hasn't looked that good for donkey's years.
We're going to take a break. News headlines coming up in just a moment.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide Tech Guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Last month we spoke about the best new laptop of 2022, HP's Envy X360. Well, it just got better. Harvey Norman has added a special new bonus. Not only do you get a 2-for-1 device that has a flip screen to make it more like a tablet, and fast, reliable computing with 16 gig of RAM and a 512 gig solid-state drive. On top of all these incredible specs, you'll also score a bonus $300 Harvey Norman gift card. The perfect excuse to grab some accessories or even treat yourself to a new coffee machine. All yours with a beautifully designed HP Envy, available now at Harvey Norman for only $1,999.
Check out this great offer at 5AA.com.au. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Are you ready to try new interests and activities or enjoy some old ones? With Live Up, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3 to find and connect with local community groups to suit you. So if you're ready to keep up, show up and step up, then join up. Discover more at liveup.org.au. Live Up. Welcome to the upside of ageing.
Brick, block, pave and save, stack, lay, pattern and play. The look, the quality, the range. Luton.
Right now, you can save up to 25% off quality Luton, formerly Boral Masonry, bricks, blocks and pavers at your local Luton reseller.
The range. Luton. The look, the quality, the range.
Save up to 25% off at your Luton reseller today.
Dave Benson Caravans puts it all on show at this year's 4x4 Adventure Show. It's your chance to see and feel the all-new feature-packed Australian-built Cub Camper C16 caravan, designed for luxury, engineered for adventure. Also on display, Dave Benson Caravans is showing off the new range of fully off-road Highline caravans. Dave Benson Caravans puts it all on show at this year's 4x4 Adventure Show. Get to stand H3 Adelaide Showgrounds Friday 21st until Sunday 23rd.
Kate Collins and Brendan Radless, the faces you know and the team you can trust. 9 News, made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
80 minutes after 6. Our Alberton correspondent Dave Lloyd makes the observation that he wouldn't have washed the car if he knew this was going to happen. Been a fairly steady bit of rain over the last couple of hours. We'll check in with the Bureau about what that's about, because it certainly wasn't on the forecast yesterday. They are about 20 minutes away, but we'll have a quick check of the weather for you in a moment. First, news headlines. Towns in Victoria's north inundated by floodwaters face a potential second wave of devastation from downpours that will lash the state this week. Heavy rainfall is expected to sweep the north and northwest from tomorrow and into the weekend. Up to 2,000 properties in Echuca are expected to come under pressure from today. At Kerrang, the flood level will peak Wednesday into Thursday. Meanwhile, milk is being poured out across Victoria as it is unable to be collected from farms due to floods. President of the United Dairy Farmers of Victoria, Mark Billing, says trucks are unable to collect the milk from many farms across the state.
Tankers just simply can't get in, and of course with dairy cows they've got to be milked twice a day.
Yes.
You've got to put the milk somewhere, unfortunately. So if you can't get it collected from the tanker, then unfortunately there is some milk being dumped, but it's sort of a bit random in so much as where tankers have been able to get in to collect the milk.
There's been an increase in cases of the rare but potentially life-threatening invasive meningococcal disease. Despite a drop in cases during 2020-2021 due to COVID, it's once again circulating around the community with people returning to travelling. Babies under the age of 2 and adolescents between 15 and 19 are most vulnerable. Infectious disease expert Robert Boy says people should be aware of just how serious IMD can be.
It can involve a high fever, blood poisoning where you have a rash which can't be pressed away when you touch on it. It's a really nasty infection. It can lead to death in up to 1 in 10 individuals, and 1 in 20 can be left with major disability and long-term complications.
Just a horrible thing, isn't it?
Shocking. At least 4 people have been killed and scores more are injured after a military aircraft crashed in Russia. This is quite spectacular. The plane was on a training flight. One of its engines caught fire. The pilots bailed out, and it then crashed into a residential area, sparking a fire in a multi-storey apartment block. In Ukraine, at least 8 people have been killed in Russian attacks on the capital after dozens of drones were launched at Kyiv, and they seem to be following a similar pattern of indiscriminate attack that we've seen in populated parts of Ukraine.
They're from Iran, aren't they?
They're from Iran. These ones are...
Geez, he keeps good company of Vlad, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, I reckon if I was running Iran, they're bigger fish to fry at the moment than helping out your mates in Russia. King Charles has begun selling off some of his mother's possessions. A third of the top racehorses he's inherited from Queen Elizabeth II will be sold this month as he winds down royal racing operations.
Is he putting them on like Facebook Marketplace?
What is
Or is it a garage sale? Is he in the trading post?
They're at the front.
Yeah.
You pull up at Buckingham Palace.
Jousting sticks. How much do you want? $150. Each or the pair. Tell him he's dreaming.
Maybe there's a royal equivalent.
Yeah.
His royal trading post.
I think it's called Sotheby's.
Yeah. Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane airports could be thrown into chaos if fire and rescue teams push ahead with strike action. The Airport Services Australia employees will vote on whether to stop work for an entire shift. They're demanding a 15% pay rise over 3 years compared to the 11.5% that is currently on offer. Right now, it is 22 minutes after 6, and outside in the city of Adelaide, it's 14.6 degrees. Nice and mild, really, heading for a top of 23. It's the rain that's taken everyone by surprise. Top of 23 tomorrow and clear. Thursday, 23 and up to 2 mils of rain. Friday, 21 and maybe just a little shower. Saturday and Sunday, though, look like they're going to be significantly wet. It gets up to 25 on Saturday, but up to 10 mils of rain with it. Sunday, 19 and up to 10 mils of rain as well. Tom Wren has just wandered into the 5AA Breakfast studio. Time to talk sport. All new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander with 10-year warranty, 10 years cap price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning to you, Will. Morning, David. A bit going on in sport at the moment. Tom Brady, he's fascinating for me. He's 45. He's come back to sport. It's, alleged that this is one of the issues why he's going through some pretty tough personal circumstances at the moment, because the wife put the ultimatum, well, that's it, give the sport away. And he did. And then he's come back.
He gave it away for about 2 weeks.
He gave away for about 2 weeks, and he's come back. Yesterday, Vision emerged, just blasting his teammates. Now, I'm sure this happens all the time. You get stuck in your teammates. But to me, it looked like a guy who's frustrated that, he's trying to squeeze one last little bit out of the lemon. And, they went down to Pittsburgh Steelers, who are pretty average. They're 3-3. Maybe look like they're going to be an also-ran side this season. I just wonder, at 45, what more is there to add to the legacy? There's a case of being driven and, trying to, be brilliant and all that, or is it just being greedy?
Well, there's a saying in politics that all political careers end in tragedy. And it's often the case in sport too, isn't it? Where people just don't know when to stop. And, at its worst, sports like boxing, you end up paying the ultimate price. There's only so many blows to the head you can take. But, yeah, with Brady, he looks like he doesn't look like he's a nurturing leader in that footage. He looks like because he's always had a reputation for being a bit fig jam.
Yeah.
Well, you wonder, you hear
use an acronym.
You hear people in Australian rules football talk about it. Some of the veteran players will say, over the course of your career, it gets harder to relate to the younger guys. You get to a point in your early 30s and you've got a family often. And there's guys who are 19 on the list, and you've got to lead them, but they're speaking a different language.
They're doing their TikTok videos.
That's right. Well, what's it like when you're 45? Like Tom Brady's from an era well pre-social media.
He's a lot older than you, Will.
He's a lot older than me. He's 6 years older than me, and he's knocking around at work with
guys half his age,
literally half his age. They're
from a
total different generation.
Grew up without a mobile phone.
Yeah,
exactly. So how does he communicate with those guys and be their leader? And
that's it. And now that people have seen it, it was so public. But, knowing Tom Brady, he'll probably go out and win the Super Bowl again this season.
That's what tends to happen.
I can't see it happening this time. So fascinating. Also, I love, playoffs at American sport time. And the New York Yankees are playing Cleveland at the moment. And it was 3-1. And a Cleveland batter, Josh Naylor, did this to Gerrit Cole, the New York Yankees pitcher.
Hits this one well in the gap in right center field. Judge watches it leave the yard. And Naylor's got his own home run dance for the 10th consecutive start. Regular season and postseason, Garrett Cole has given up at least one home run.
So we can see the vision right now. He hits that home run and gives the signal. In baseball, it's a real etiquette thing. If you run the bases too slowly when you hit a home run, it's deemed disrespectful. You know, you're supposed to go around at a certain time. You know, you're not supposed to...
Because otherwise you're showboating.
You're showboating. He literally took showboating to a new level, was running at the pitcher, looking at him, doing the baby signal, the cradling, saying, "You're my son," as in, "I own you. You are mine." They then lost the game.
Oh, no.
Now they got to go back to New York today for the deciding Game 5 with it locked at 2-2. How do you think he's going to be received
That's going to be a
today?
pretty good reception.
So he's going to
Who was the player that Hardwick got up about doing that when he held the ball out before he kicked that goal?
Was that Sydney Stack or was that...
Shy Bolton.
Shy Bolton. To Sam Doherty.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine if you'd missed that one.
Well, yeah, exactly. So he's going to want to back it up today, Josh Naylor, when Cleveland go back to New York. Season over for whoever loses. Oh, you love that theatre, but you're going to want to have a pretty good at-bat when you next go up.
Puts the pressure on.
It's one of those... there's a thing in journalism called Muffrey's Law, which holds that the moment you write an article teasing someone about typos committed elsewhere, invariably that article will contain a typo.
Exactly.
There's a certain karmic sort of quality to these things, and he's on the receiving end of it.
And just Ned Brockman, I know you might have touched on it, but what an effort. 4,500 kilometres from Perth to Bondi. What a reception. I mean, and it's sort of in that sporting sphere, but 100 Ks a day, that's just ridiculous. Raising $1 million for homelessness, unbelievable achievement.
Yeah, absolutely. Quite remarkable. Good on you, Rennie.
Good on you, boys.
Thanks,
Great
Tom.
stuff.
10-year warranty, 10-year cap price servicing, Agostino, Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
Like shocks shooting through your body.
That's how some people describe their shingles pain. Shingles is caused by the reactivation of the chickenpox virus. While most people recover fully, up to 25% may experience long-term complications.
I had to cancel all my plans and struggled to work.
Up to 1 in 3 people risk developing shingles in their lifetime.
If you're 50 or over, don't let shingles affect your plans.
Talk to your doctor for more information. Individual symptoms may vary. Sponsored by GlaxoSmithKline Australia, Melbourne.
Did you know Specsavers also cares for your hearing and offers upfront everyday low prices on hearing aids? Specsavers Audiology, proud sponsor of Healthy Living with Dr. Ross Walker. Sunday nights on 5AA and podcast at 5AA.com.au.
Hello, Animal Control. I cannot believe my eyes. What's happened, ma'am? I think I've just seen a black panther. A black panther? Right here in Australia. My husband is going to freak. I'm going to go see if I can hunt more down.
That's another black panther spotted in Australia. What's happening?
Call your nearest Tinter car to arrange the very best protection for your car and home on 13Tint or visit tintercar.com.au.
Get a read on fuel hikes, rate spikes and red carpet delights. Get a read on today with The Advertiser and enjoy full digital access for only $1 a week for the first 12 weeks. Minimum cost $4. Search The Advertiser offer today. Conditions apply.
Go Toyota certified pre-owned at North Point Toyota and enjoy the same feeling you get with a new Toyota. North Point Toyota's certified pre-owned vehicles come with a 90-point safety check, carry a full service history and now an extra 1-year warranty. North Point Toyota certified pre-owned vehicles are in a class of their own. It's the North Point way. Go Toyota certified pre-owned at North Point Toyota, Hillcrest Prospect, Port Augusta or search northpointtoyota.com.au.
Hi, Susanna Toop here. 31%. That's the number of our landlords who have been with Toop & Toop for over 10 years. Building long-term relationships with our clients is really important to us. Who are you trusting to look after your biggest investment? Toop.com.au.
When you switch to Aldi, you'll save more on everyday items like bakery products. And then you can spend more on other stuff like baking yourself on a tropical beach somewhere. Right, time to turn over. So don't change your lifestyle, change your supermarket. Why not visit Aldi today to see just how much you can save on a weekly shop? I would, but my diary's chock-a-block. Aldi. Good. Different.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy today and 23 with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher. Extinction Rebellion protesters are expected to cause more problems in the city today. They're targeting a 3-day gas and oil conference being held at the Adelaide Convention Centre. Organiser Chris Johnson says they won't go away until there's action.
The South Australian government declared a climate emergency, and now it's the principal sponsor, which my understanding is that involves giving money to this oil and gas conference. So we want them to end their support for these conferences. We don't want them here in South Australia.
Australians are being warned about the serious dangers posed by invasive meningococcal disease. Cases of the rare but potentially fatal disease are on the rise as people return to travelling following the pandemic. Infectious diseases expert Robert Boy says many people miss the vital early signs that they might have IMD.
Well, the worry is that it starts out as a common cold with fever and a sore throat and feeling unwell and lethargy, but then it progresses rapidly, and that's the problem. To start with, it looks like the common cold, but then within hours you can become seriously unwell.
The first of Victoria's flood victims are expected to arrive at the state's quarantine centre today. Christy Sullivan has more.
The $580 million Centre for National Resilience at Mickleham in Melbourne's north was opened in February. It was originally built to replace hotel quarantine during the pandemic, but was shut last week due to a drop in demand. But after devastating floods across Victoria, the federal and state governments agreed to reopen it, to be repurposed as crisis accommodation for those whose homes have been inundated. 250 beds will be available at the facility, which will provide food, toiletries, clothing and support services. Residents will be able to come and go from the facility as they need, with a free shuttle bus taking them to and from the local train station and shopping centre.
And the River Murray could peak at its highest level in more than 50 years as floodwaters from Victoria make their way into South Australia. It comes as Riverland businesses urge people to continue coming to the region, with the Department of Environment expecting more than 100 gigalitres a day to flow into the waterway in the coming weeks. The White House has been quick to condemn deadly drone strikes from Russia on the Ukrainian capital. 4 people have been killed in Kiev as kamikaze drones dive-bomb the city. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre says the US will continue to support Ukraine.
As we have said over the past several months, to stand with the people of Ukraine for as long as it takes. We are going to continue to work with our allies and partners. We will continue to impose costs on Russia, hold them accountable.
Meantime, at least 4 people have been killed and many more injured after a military aircraft crashed in Russia. There's been an increase in the number of foot amputations among people with type 2 diabetes. Katie Fuller has the details.
The condition can cause damage to nerves in the feet, cutting off circulation and making it more difficult for cuts to heal. Now, a study has found 20,000 people with type 2 diabetes became amputees in the decade to 2020. That's a 57% increase. They weren't all major amputations, some losing only part of a toe or the foot, but experts say 85% of the operations are preventable if detected early.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
All new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander with 10-year warranty, 10 years capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi.
What's happening in the cricket, Tom Wren?
Well, Mel, Australia's going to turn its attention now to the T20 World Cup after suffering a 6-run loss to India in its final warm-up game ahead of that T20 World Cup. The Aussies kick off their campaign against New Zealand on Saturday, and there were 2 games yesterday with Scotland stunning the West Indies by 42 runs while Zimbabwe beat Ireland by 32 runs. In Sheffield Shield action, South Australia will resume at 2 for 21 on day 3 in its second innings at Adelaide Oval, giving the Redbacks a lead of 3 runs. SA's bowlers gave the team a fighting chance of a win after dismissing the Tigers for 245. Wes Agar led the way with 4 wickets and says they did well.
I think the bowlers bowled really well. We have bowled on Karen Rolton probably last year and it's taught our bowlers really good disciplines on our lengths. And we were lucky enough to bowl really good areas, and now we've got to put a good total on the board and hopefully be able to defend it.
Yeah, let's hope they can do it. North Melbourne young gun Taron Thomas is caught up in a police investigation amid allegations of malicious behaviour against a former partner. The Roos have reported the matter to the AFL's Integrity Unit. The Moonee Valley Racing Club Committee will meet to finalise the Cox Plate field this morning. And in some soccer to finish, Real Madrid striker Karim Benzema has won the 2022 Ballon d'Or award for the best men's player in world football. Matilda star Sam Kerr has been overlooked for the women's award. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast, 23 today, partly cloudy, the same tomorrow, then Thursday a shower or two and 23, Friday cloudy, 21. Right now it's 15 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
24-7. The rain this morning's been a bit of a mystery. It's caught everyone by surprise. Kevin says it's been raining steadily in the Copper Coast for the past 4 hours. Not sure it's welcome for grain farmers. Certainly came down for a couple of hours in the western suburbs. I went back and had a look at the forecast. Today, it was a 20% chance of any rain and nothing in terms of, they didn't even put it on the 0 to 1 range on the forecast. So insignificant was as expected to be. But I feel like we've got a bit more than that. We'll chat with the Bureau in just a few moments' time. 8223 is our number. You can text us as well on the Automasters text line, or if you are watching along, you can leave us a comment on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream. How about this? A microscope that was built for Captain Cook's maiden voyage in the 18th century is about to be sold. This was found in someone's attic in a suitcase. I just wonder how many ancient treasures there are just knocking around in people's attics in bits and pieces.
I've had a look. I haven't seen anything. Sadly.
It was...
That'll be priceless.
Well, it's not. It's it has a price tag. Specialist auction house Charles Miller Limited are expecting to get fetched somewhere. I don't know how they come up with these numbers. Oddly specific. Somewhere between $59,000 and $98,000. I
thought it would have been heaps more than that.
Yeah, I would have thought. So it's an Ellis-type microscope. To look at it, if you close your eyes and picture what was a microscope, what did it look like from 300 years ago, you'll absolutely have the right image of it.
Does it look like a modern one?
No, it doesn't.
Same shape?
Oh, it's same shape, yeah, but it's all leather and copper.
Yeah, right.
It looks beautiful. At the time, cost £2. Now, £2 now doesn't sound like a lot. According to the reporting that I've said this morning, and this is again an odd reference point, but it is a reference point, a housemaid at the same time earned £3 a year.
Jeez.
So it was expensive at the time. It was made in 1768 for the purpose of the voyage, and was instrumental at the time when the Endeavour became stuck on the Great Barrier Reef, and they ended up, by happenstance, doing a lot of research on the reef that they hadn't planned to do, but they got stuck there and had to get the ship off. So it was used at that time. No idea how it ended up in someone's attic somewhere.
Yeah, where is it?
That's like the ultimate grand designs.
Is it in England?
Yes, it's in England.
Antiques Roadshow, you mean?
What did I say?
Grand Designs.
Yeah, Antiques Roadshow is the one I meant. I love Grand Designs too.
Grand Designs, he's terrific, that bloke.
Kevin McLeod.
Yeah. Did you see the episode where it was a series where he built his own house out of material he found at the dump?
No, I haven't seen that one. I've heard about it, but no.
He builds a beach house. The windows are from an old passenger jet.
Really?
Yeah, it's a stunning thing. It's terrific.
There is something so soothing about watching that show. I don't know what it is.
Well, it'd be a hell of a lot more soothing in my house if for the life of me, I don't know why, but it's the one show. If I put it on, Kate goes, "Are you seriously like the oldest man in the world?" I go, "Listen, it's a great program. It's just our Flashpoint program. So it's my secret show."
Really? Oh, you need to come around our place.
Yeah, well, I might.
Yeah,
I might. You won't mind. You haven't got much on.
No, that's all right.
Don't mind me. I brought a six-pack and I've ordered some pizzas.
Me, the wife, and the newborn. Yeah, we'll get around and watch Grand Designs one time.
Exactly.
The US President Joe Biden has, in the last 35 minutes, made an announcement. His administration's plan to relieve up to $20,000 in student loan debt is one of the most controversial policies of the Biden era. That's for what they call a Pell Grant, $10,000 if you didn't. But either way, they're going to say, that debt you had that you're paying for education, like HECS or HELP here in Australia, it doesn't exist anymore.
It's pretty wild doing that in the backdraft of all the COVID spending.
It's
like
extraordinary.
It seems like a lower order priority in terms of cost of living for people.
I would have thought, he says, today I'm announcing how working and middle class folks can apply for this relief. Here's a bit of what he had to say.
Today, I'm announcing how millions of people, working and middle class folks, can apply for get this relief, and it's simple and it's now. It's easy, it's fast. At the end of my remarks, I'm going to officially launch this new application site at studentaid.gov.
Now, this is one of those policies where I'm sure there's a sound economic argument to make it happen, but I think the fairness argument is completely unsound. I don't know how you say to people who maybe scrimped and saved and paid it off 6 months ago,
yeah,
oh, you would have been better off living large, partying and not worrying about it because the government's now taking care of it.
Yeah.
But those people aren't getting a grant.
No.
If you've paid it off. It just seems fundamentally unfair.
But it feels like it's something where if you're younger and you haven't got any dependents, it's less onerous than, the prospect of, like, to put it in an Australian context, if you've got young kids and you haven't got a hell of a lot of money and suddenly you've got to pay 35% more for your power bills, as opposed to
completely.
Something you can pay off gradually, HEC style, in the course of, progressing through the workforce.
I actually think the way, I don't know enough about the nuances and the way the US system does it, but I actually think the way the Australian system's done it, what it certainly did when I was going through, was it was only once you started earning a certain amount of money.
Yeah, that's right.
It was only a certain percentage, and it wasn't...
The amount, though, these days.
The amount these days
crazy.
is just ridiculous.
When I graduated, my entire debt was $4,600.
Wow. So does that mean you only paid for the last part?
My first year was free.
Yeah, I was going to say.
87, it was still free education, except they brought in a thing called HIAC, which was the Higher Education Administration Charge, and it was $250 a year. And there were mass protests about it. I can remember lying on the road in King William Street chanting, "Tax the rich, not the poor," which ironically is the most conceited undergraduate chant ever. Because when you say tax the rich, not the poor, what you're basically saying is that me, through, good luck and a bit of hard work, or rather picking the right subjects, I'm now in the law school. And I believe that people who work as cleaners and as hospital orderlies, and that it's incumbent upon them to pay through the tax system so that I can become a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much
that's
what free education means. Now, I know the counter-argument to that is no. What free education means is that the kid is graduated from Christie's Beach High or from Golden Grove, or schools that are historically regarded as academically troubled in areas of lower socioeconomic advantage, that those kids know there's no financial barrier to them getting an education, which is the best argument in favour of free education. But it also means that, Saints boys, PAC kids, everyone can go off to study law, medicine and engineering, and blue-collar people pay for that.
Yeah. Which
is a good socialist-type argument in favour of something like HECS, which isn't an upfront disincentive to go to uni.
No. Adrian says on the Biden measure, I'm sure that'll help inflation and teach kids how to be responsible for their decisions. It's quite literally places further pressure on inflation. Suddenly, just forgiving debt is flooding the market with money. And it turns out Grand Designs is pretty divisive on the Automasters text line as well. Jane says, Grand Designs is the best. Love that show. And Max says, Grand Designs is shocking. Every time I hear the theme, I cringe.
Why do people hate it so much?
I was not aware. I've lived in a world blissfully unaware of how much it irritates people.
The one show that's the real grounds for immediate, no explanation given divorce in our place is Monty Don's gardening programs. Have you ever seen them?
No.
Oh, I love that guy. He's this eccentric pommy bloke who wears sort of Doctor Who type scarves, and he's walking around different gardens in the world just rabbiting on at great passionate length about how they were designed, their history. It's an excellent, excellent program, but if I am even caught watching that, I'll be sleeping in here under the desk, Will. I'll be kicked out of home.
I can't help you with that one around my place, I'm afraid. Sorry, Max. 15 to 7. We're going to check traffic. With summer just around the corner, beat the rush and get your air conditioning sorted now with Mannix.
Thanks, Will, and good morning. Got a few passing showers if you're up early heading to work, so do take it easy on damp roads this morning and look out for burst water main at Burnside, Greenhill Road near Glenburn Road. Got a lane closed there, speed's down to 40. Also got a lane out of action at Glenside, Fullerton Road near Main Street, speed's reduced. And got a swagger cameras around 2 this morning. You'll find one Osmond Terrace, Norwood, and another one Walkerville Terrace at Gilberton. It's all about the seasoning. GYG's uniquely addictive Chipotle seasoning really sets their fries apart. Grab them at your local GYG today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Everyday low prices, any time of year. Trust the mighty South Aussies. Great food lives here. Foodland. The mighty South Aussies, yeah.
You're watching the 5AA live stream, thanks to Foodland.
The mighty South Aussies, yeah.
Off, especially if you've been holding out for a great deal on a new Volkswagen. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen is now receiving truckloads of new Volkswagens. Yes, they're coming. And they're available at amazing prices. Remember Mawson Lakes Volkswagen for servicing too, with next day servicing and free loan cars. Get a great deal on Volkswagen now. Don't dilly-dally, dawdle or delay. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city.
Renovation experts Kyle and Cara talk Aussie-made tiles thanks to Beaumont Tiles.
We've completed over 35 renovation projects, and there are many things we think about when selecting products, and supporting local and Aussie-made is a key consideration.
It's another reason we choose Beaumont Tiles. They have Australia's biggest range of Aussie-made tiles.
We also look for outstanding quality and value, so our renovations add real value to a home.
Kyle, did you know the local plant produces exclusive Aussie-made tiles in the latest designs and styles just for Beaumonts?
How cool is that?
Yes, it is. Support Aussie Made and get the latest styles and designs.
What a great way to add value to your home.
Right now at Beaumont's, all Aussie-made floor tiles are 20% off, with some super specials dropped from $40 to just $17.95. Yes, $17.95 for exclusive Aussie-made tile specials only at Beaumont Tiles for a limited time. Beaumont. Decencies apply.
Who can fix the shower?
Service today.
Who can fix the power?
Service today.
Yes, we can, is what we say at Service Today.
Every time you see our bright yellow trucks in your area, we're helping out your neighbours. We can help you too. So for the best plumbing, electrical, heating and cooling work, call Service Today 24/7.
Can you fix the shower? Yes, we can. Can you fix the power? Yes, we can. Yes, we can, is what we say at Service Today.
Call 1300 Service.
Kate Collins and Brendan Raglas, the faces you know and the team you can trust. 9 News, made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
11 to 7, Hero of the Week coming up. You've got a hero you'd like to nominate, someone you'd like to shout out. A great effort from someone in your neck of the woods, or indeed someone that's done something extraordinary globally. Give us a call, 8223 0000. There's no explanation required. If you want to say someone's done something great, you can do so. You can text us as well. Automasters text line 0480 1395. We'll leave your comments on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream. Let's talk about the weather. This has been a real mystery this morning. Tina Donaldson is on duty at the Bureau. Tina, a little bit of rain that certainly our listeners weren't expecting already this morning.
Yeah, look, initially it was sort of flagged just for the northern suburbs, but it has come down just a little bit further south there, so a slight chance of a shower for all of Adelaide just this morning. That should contract off north, but so far across the metropolitan area we've had 0.8 of a millimetre at Adelaide West Terrace site, 0.8 also at Adelaide Airport, 0.6 of a millimetre at Edinburgh today. So, yeah, still just a slight chance of a shower looking at the radar, but certainly most of the activity in the north of the state today. Temperature-wise, been relatively warm overnight, sitting at 14.7 degrees now. And we're heading for a top of 23 degrees today in the city, 23 also at Elizabeth and Glenelg, 21 at Mount Barker and 23 at Noarlunga today. For tomorrow, look, it's still just on the edge of the main shower activity that's moving across the state at the moment. So again, just a slight chance for shower flagged for Adelaide, most likely through the afternoon and evening. Similar temperature-wise as well, overnight minimum of 14 and a top of 23. On Thursday, that low-pressure system that's bringing the rain toward the north will move a little bit further south into the east, and so Adelaide more likely to see a shower or two on the Thursday, just up to 2 millimetres there, again, top of 23 degrees. And then on Friday, just a slight chance for shower in the morning, top of 21. It does look like some more wet weather set to return for the weekend, with another low-pressure trough moving across from the west. So showers for Saturday, 4 to 10 millimetres, top of 25 degrees. A little bit cooler as that trough moves through on the Sunday, another 2 to 10 millimetres with showers easing and a top of just 19 degrees, and back to possible shower and partly cloudy on the Monday.
Good stuff, Tina. Thanks so much for that.
All right, let's head to SAPOL. Senior Constable Jen Cullinan joins us. Jen, there's been a servo robbery at Evandale.
Yes, they have, and that was about 4:20 this morning. Police were called to the service station on Port Rush Road where the hold-up alarm was activated. A man entered the store and threatened the staff with a knife, and he's demanded cash and cigarettes. He placed the items in a white shopping bag before he ran from the shop. He's described as being Caucasian, medium build, and was wearing a black hooded jumper, grey tracksuit pants, black shoes and black gloves. So they quickly set up cordons. However, the suspect hasn't been located yet. Just asking anyone with information to call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Jen, also there's been a theft at Mawson Lakes.
Yes, and that was just before 1 a.m. this morning. A resident of Heatherton Walk was returning home when he spotted two youths near his motor vehicle parked on the driveway. He shouted at the youths who walked away, and they were collected by a third man who was on a motorbike. So they've done a little blocking, and the trio have returned on the bike, approached the victim and punched him in the face, causing him to drop his keys and phone. Two of the youths have grabbed the keys, and they've stolen a red Mazda sedan from the driveway and also a black Mazda sedan which was parked on the road. So the vehicles were last seen heading south on Gannett Street, and the third man escaped on a BMW motorbike which was reported stolen on the 5th of October. So luckily the man's only received a minor facial injury and hasn't required medical treatment. And again, unfortunately, we haven't located the suspects or the motor vehicles from that incident. We're just asking anyone for information to call Crime Stoppers. Again, 1800 333 000, and the registration numbers of the vehicles are on the police website.
Good stuff, Jen. Thanks for that.
Senior Constable Jen Cullinan from SAPOL 727. Time for Hero of the Week.
I'm holding out for a hero till the end of the night. He's gotta be strong and he's gotta be fast and he's gotta be fresh.
Nominate a hero, 8223 0000. It's as simple as that. Someone you can shout out. Just a random act of radio kindness this morning. Lucy is in the studio, producer extraordinaire. Morning, Lucy.
Good morning. My hero is a man by the name of Benjamin Daly. He is a researcher with the Alaska Department of Fish and Game. He's part of the team that is researching the snow crab population as the annual Alaskan snow crab harvest has been cancelled for the first time ever because billions of these snow crabs have disappeared.
Wow. Where have they gone?
Well, that's what Benjamin Daly is trying to find out. There's a lot of factors involved.
Well, have they gone down
oceans
people's throats? Because it's the most popular form of crab meat in the States.
Is it really?
Yeah.
No, I think. Well, I don't think there's you can't catch them because they're gone. So the harvest season has now been cancelled for these crabs because they're not there.
Oh, so they just said, well, we can't catch them because there's none to catch, as opposed to what we've done here with the snapper population.
Yes.
And said we need to manage it.
Yes.
Wow.
So Benjamin Daly, my hero for researching these Alaskan snow crabs.
Yeah, good man. Someone
TBC. There will be an ending to this story.
Oh, okay.
Eventually.
Oh, right. Yeah, they can come back and give us when he ultimately finds his research.
That's right.
Or the crabs, whatever comes first. Good on you, Luce. Thank you.
Mine is very simple and obvious. I'm just going to nominate all the people who are out putting sandbags out everywhere in Australia at the moment. Half the country's at risk of being underwater, and these people have got jobs.
Volunteers.
The volunteer.
I'm going to nominate, and I hope I'm not misappropriating or misusing the hero of the week. And stop me if I start turning this into a bagger loser of the week. But my hero of the week is Priscilla Hon, the Australian tennis player. She's 24 years of age and took to social media to reveal the sorts of messages she gets after playing tennis from generally middle-aged, sad men. She's the hero, of course. She made the point that there's a lot of pressure on tennis players. You're an individual, and as such, when it doesn't go badly, you tend to get from some fairly strong feedback. And there's feedback, then there's things like this. She's been told she's an effing worthless piece of garbage. You suck, you worthless whatever. I hope your family dies of cancer, you effing so-and-so.
Why
There's
would anyone do that?
There's heaps of these. I'll tell you why they do it, because they've lost a bet. They've lost bets she's been involved in games that she's been involved in. And the thing is, she's posted these pictures of what these guys have said with their names removed, but their pictures there. And their pictures are all middle-aged blokes. There are middle-aged blokes who jump on their computer and say the most vile and vicious things about a 24-year-old girl who's just trying to play tennis.
I'd never even heard of her. So, like, if you've got some tennis player who's not even close to being a household name in your multi, doesn't that sort of show the extent to which you've become a massive problem gambler?
I would have thought.
You know,
there's suggestions that people hope their legs get broken. She dies. She goes, burns in hell.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, she made the point that she thinks it's rife in tennis. I don't know about that. I'm guessing we could probably ask lots of local footballers the same thing, who would find that they have copped it for whatever reason. But some people need to get a life. And I think it was heroic of her to put her head above the parapet and say, this is what I get.
Yeah, certainly is.
This is what's out there.
Good on her.
Sam, good morning.
I want to take your minds back to last week. I was in Bathurst on my way home last Monday. And David, you're my hero. Oh. I want to take you back to this last week.
He drove Adelaide to Hay and then Hay to Bathurst. And I was saying, mate, go the extra half hour, go Adelaide to Griffith, because Griffith in the Riverina has got one of the best Italian restaurants in Australia.
So I've got an update. My parents are on their way home. They decided to go through Griffith last night. The restaurant was shut.
Oh, La Scala, what are you doing to me?
Is this a heroic nomination?
I don't know. I just want to have the opportunity to take the piss out of David, to be honest.
That's fair.
And then David sent me another one to send them to, Belvedere.
The Belvedere?
It was also shut.
I did find one in the end that was open, though. I was frantically Googling. I was
in David's
the middle of dinner. I found Giuseppe's restaurant, Italian food, Griffith. Did they go to Giuseppe's?
I don't know what they did in the end.
He never said they were going to be open. He just said they were great restaurants.
Well, they went there and took a photo of the door.
Quite a lot of restaurants are shut on a Monday.
That's true.
But, yeah, it's not what you want, not the welcome you want on a road trip. I feel terrible about that, Sam. Mainly because if they'd gone in there, I know that they would have said, we are so glad that we followed up on that tip, because it's sensational.
Next time. You go every year to Bathurst, so there'll be another opportunity.
Just don't go on a Monday.
No. 90 seconds away from 7 o'clock. 5AA News is coming up. We'll take you through some of the other stories around South Australia, the floods in the eastern states and around the world next.
Ray White, big name in real estate, but also the biggest name in business broking. What makes us big? Our people, like Brett Buckley and his team. MBA, lecturer, and multi-time SA Business Broker of the Year. Brett doesn't just read a P&L, he feels it. If you're selling or expanding your business, Brett can take your business apart and find you more money. And we're not talking small change. Go on, touch base with Brett. Search Ray White Business Sales SA.
Introducing Nissan Future Value Business Plus, a new fleet finance solution for small to medium businesses offering competitive weekly repayments, including the cost of scheduled servicing for the loan term. Available now on the all-new Nissan Qashqai ST. Plan confidently for the road ahead with Nissan Future Value Business Plus. Visit nissan.com.au/business plus or contact your local Nissan dealer. Approved ABN registered small to medium fleet applicants of Nissan Financial Services. T's and C's and exclusions apply.
I was quite sporty as a kid, but always had trouble with my crunchy knees. And then one day the right knee completely locked. My GP advised me to see a surgeon, so I went on the internet and thankfully found the Joint Replacement Clinic, who explained I needed total knee replacement. That was the bad news. But because of my medical insurance, there was no gap, not a single expense. And with the new knee, I'm swinging the old clubs again.
Ask your GP or visit thejointreplacementclinic.com.au. Renewing mobility, restoring life.
Everyone
Sitting quietly, please. In a circle, thank you. Today we're going to talk about what we'd like to be when we grow up.
A police girl. Race car driver. I want to be a gymnast. I want to be a concreter. With Adelaide Exposed Concrete.
I want to be a concreter too.
Me too.
AdelaideExposedConcrete.com.au. Best on ground all year round.
What's a concreter?
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 23 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher. A Mawson Lakes resident has been punched in the face and had 2 of his cars stolen. The man was assaulted shortly before 1 a.m. on Heron Walk. He was targeted by a trio who'd returned on a motorbike after being seen earlier acting suspiciously in the area. Senior Constable Jen Cullinan says he dropped his keys and phone.
2 of the youths have grabbed the keys and they've stolen a red Mazda sedan from the driveway and also a black Mazda sedan which was parked on the road. So the vehicles were last seen heading south on Gannett Street, and the third man escaped on a BMW motorbike, which was reported stolen on the 5th of October.
There's been an early morning break-in at Parkside. The residents called police just before 3 after hearing a person inside their home. The suspect had entered the home via the living room window. Another person was on the property. The 2 youths were wearing all black but ran off when they realised someone was there. A large kitchen knife has been used to hold up an Evandale service station. The On the Run on Portrush Road was targeted around 4:30 this morning. The offender ran off with cash and cigarettes. Patrols set up cordons and dog operations were called in, but the man hasn't been located. Extinction Rebellion protesters will head to the Adelaide Convention Centre again today, where an oil and gas conference is being held. 2 demonstrators were arrested yesterday and charged with loitering. Organiser Chris Johnson says the world is in crisis and action is needed.
We're working with the world as it is now to change it for the better. And I don't think any of these litmus tests are really appropriate. We can demand better from our government, even if we as individuals are imperfect.
The cost of living crisis is expected to worsen due to the devastating impact of flooding in Victoria, New South Wales and Tasmania. Mia Glover has more.
The Treasurer warning things like milk, fresh fruit and veggies will rise up in prices over the next few weeks and in the lead up to Christmas, including things like bread and chicken. He's urging us to brace for high prices, but not yet putting a dollar amount of how much we can expect to fork out. Of course, we all remember how high iceberg lettuce went earlier this year as a result of the floods in northern New South Wales and here in Queensland, jacked up to around $10 to $11 for just one, so the price rises are expected to be significant.
British Prime Minister Liz Truss is facing pressure to resign from within her own Conservative Party just 6 weeks after entering Downing Street. Her leadership is in doubt after the Chancellor ditched almost all of the tax cuts announced in the budget 3 weeks ago. Jeremy Hunt says it will be vital to act quickly to give the economy some certainty.
We remain completely committed to our mission to go for growth, but growth requires confidence and stability, which is why we are taking many difficult decisions starting today.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
All new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander with 10-year warranty, 10 years capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. A late collapse has cost Australia victory in its final warm-up match ahead of the T20 World Cup. India took 4 wickets with the final 4 balls to win by 6 runs. Skipper Aaron Finch impressed, though, with a knock of 76 from only 54 balls. Former Test captain Mark Taylor has told Wide World of Sports that will give the rest of the side plenty of confidence.
Yeah, I think it'll help the Australians relax as well, because I know what it's like as a former captain. When you're not playing well yourself, it sort of tends to permeate through the side. So this is good news for Australia.
A massive upset in the World Cup's group stage last night. Scotland defeating the West Indies by 42 runs, while Zimbabwe has beaten Ireland by 31 runs. Meantime, South Australia will resume at 2 for 21 on day 3 of its Shield clash against Tasmania at Adelaide Oval, giving the Redbacks a lead of only 3 runs. To soccer, Matilda's captain Sam Kerr has once again been overlooked for the Ballon d'Or award, missing out for the second year running to Barcelona's Alexia Putellas. Karim Benzema won the men's award. Meantime, the Central Coast Mariners are joining the A-League women's competition for the 2023-24 season. One game in the NBL overnight with the New Zealand Breakers making it 3 wins in a row, smashing Illawarra by 26 points. And in some baseball, the New York Yankees and Cleveland will go head-to-head this morning in the series-deciding Game 5 of the American League Divisional Series. New York levelled the series at 2-2 yesterday after a 4-2 win in Game 4. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
We've got a few passing showers this morning, so take it easy on damp roads on the way to work. And look out for a burst water main at Burnside. That's Green Hill Road near Glenburn Road. One lane out of action with speeds out of 40 k's. Slow going for works this morning at Marston, Marion Road near Galway Avenue. Speeds are reduced. And we're quite busy at the moment, South Road at Anzac Highway. Look out for cameras, Bray Street, Morfordville and Grant Road at Ranella. Check out the Club Marine SA Boat and Fishing Show and the Four-Wheel Drive Adventure Show from Friday till Sunday this weekend at Adelaide Showground. saboatshow.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA forecast, partly cloudy, 23 today, partly cloudy tomorrow, 23. Thursday a shower or two, but also 23. Right now it's 15 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
7:07, good morning to you. Welcome to Tuesday. If you're just joining us for the first time, depending on where you are, you might have missed some rain that came early in the morning that wasn't predicted. A reasonable amount, somewhere around a mil in lots of Adelaide, just shy of that. Anyway, none of it was really expected, but we got it. So don't be surprised if you get out in the car has had a wash, or if you wash the car, where it's suddenly not looking that great. Much more rain predicted to be on the way for the northern parts of Victoria, which is bad news. They need some relief. We're going to be crossing there in about 15 minutes' time. Then after 7:30 today, we'll catch up with Phil Curry in the nation's capital to talk federal politics. But let's start with the situation here in South Australia. We were talking about the potential for floods in the Murray region yesterday in the program. We spoke with Joe Caldo from his winery, talking about closing the cellar door because it's right at the banks. Water was lapping it, wasn't worth opening. Got contacted by Tim Whetstone, the member for Chafee, who made the point, let's not scare people. It's not floods that are in the Riverland yet. No. It's a high flow event. So if you've got a long weekend that's booked this way, you've got made your own long weekend, or you're making a holiday, you're heading up there, do it. It's a great part of South Australia to go to. And when there's lots of water in the Murray, it'll look spectacular. So if you're getting up and doing it, make sure you do that. But there are concerns about what the next month, 6-8 weeks is going to look like. The Department of Environment has and regularly does monitor the amount of flow of water into the Murray. At the border, it was 79 gigalitres a week ago. The expectation is it'll increase to 90 a day in mid-November. By way of reference, the high point in the last 50-odd years, 1974, got to 170 gigalitres a day. So 94, it'll get up to 100. That'll bring it to about the highest point since 2016, when it was at 95 gigalitres. So it is worth being wary of, but not frightened of, what the impacts are going to be of all this water coming down the Murray.
One of the other impacts that is potentially going to be more frightening is what it's going to do to our household budgets, particularly at a time when we're thinking about, entertaining over the Christmas season. And off the back of the floods in northern New South Wales earlier this year that pushed up prices, lettuces got up to $10 each, more in some cases. The war in Ukraine has forced up the price of so many basic goods. Fertilisers become more expensive. Grain has become more expensive. Oil, cooking oil, canola, vegetable oil, because so much of that comes from Ukraine. Earlier this year, got the shock of my life. I think I paid $13 for 2 litres of vegetable oil. In the past, it was like $6 or $7. But now they're saying, and the Treasurer, Jim Chalmers, said yesterday he was not yet in a position to put a dollar figure on it, but the big expectation is that a whole bunch of fruit and vegetable items are going to be affected by this. I mean, you think about all the citrus alone that comes out of the Riverland, all the stone fruits and everything else. I wonder how the old Christmas Day trifle's going to look.
That's an excellent question.
We'll wait and see.
We spoke earlier about the dairy farmers having to just pour milk out at the moment. The federal budget is 7 days away. It's a complicated picture given the challenges here locally and abroad at the moment. We're going to be crossing to Echuca in northern Victoria very, very shortly to get a picture of what's the challenges that are on the ground there. But certainly there'll be those that are around for the midterm for consumers in Australia. You mentioned Christmas. You're going to have to be super organised this Christmas if you want to send anything by the post. Here is Jane Doyle on 7 News.
Australia Post's announced a range of deadlines for letters and parcels to be delivered by Christmas. They include the UK. You'll need to send them by November 2nd for standard post. For China, it's November 21st. The USA, November 28th, and New Zealand, December the 2nd. If you miss those deadlines and are prepared to pay more, Australia Post has more options online.
If you've got family in the UK, you've got 2 weeks to send their Christmas presents.
November 2. That's insane.
It's quite extraordinary.
Even New Zealand, I mean, it's just over the road.
It's essentially interstate.
Yeah.
It's a couple of hours away.
That's crazy.
It is. Sign of the times. The new season of The Crown is coming out in a couple of weeks as well. It's set to come out in November. It'll be season 5.
Buckingham Palace is issuing this statement. It is with regret the Prince and Princess of Wales are separating.
There's uproar in Britain
after Prince Charles bared his soul to the nation, but the Princess of Wales upstaged her husband,
speaking about her broken marriage, her life, and her future.
Allegedly for longtime female friend.
The tapes are filthy, they're disgusting.
Been left shocked and concerned by the establishment.
This is becoming all-out war.
For those that haven't seen it, it is spectacular television. It is incredibly well written, well performed, well done. It's hugely popular, and importantly and controversially, it's very influential. I think a lot of people have had their views about many royals shaped by watching The Crown, certainly the lesser-known royals, if you're not someone who follows it closely, and I put myself in that category. As such, people have become increasingly sensitive to their depictions in the program, in the historical inaccuracies in it, including overnight Sir John Major, the former Prime Minister of the UK, who has issued this statement. He says, Sir John has not cooperated in any way with the Crown, nor has he ever been approached by them to fact-check any script material in this or any other series. Discussions between the monarch and Prime Minister are entirely private, and for Sir John will always remain so, but not one of the scenes you depict are accurate in any way whatsoever. They are fiction, pure and simple. There was never any discussion between Sir John and the then Prince of Wales about any possible abdication of the late Queen Elizabeth II, nor was such an improbable and improper subject ever raised by the then Prince of Wales. Neither Sir John nor Dame Norma have discussed the monarchy remotely in the terms you suggest in your email. What you report as depicted in the script has never been their view, never would be their view, and never will be their view. Thus, if the scenes you describe are broadcast, they should be seen as nothing other than damaging and malicious fiction, a barrel load of nonsense peddled for no other reason than to provide maximum and entirely false dramatic impact. That is a fairly forceful statement.
How many stars do you give it, John? I'll tell you what, though, there'll be a lot of people who are defenders of the royal family and probably members of the royal family themselves who would be thrilled that John Major's come out all guns blazing, because for a long time, people have said, listen, however entertaining and interesting you might find this program, a history lesson, it ain't.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are things in it. Like, I thought one of the most harrowing episodes, and it was something that the Queen herself had sort of discussed, was the Aberfarn episode with the coal slag
in Wales.
Engulfed that town, killing hundreds of primary school children, one of the greatest tragedies ever to happen in the entirety of world history. And the young Queen didn't go that day. She had other business to attend to in London and regretted it for the rest of her life. You know, things like that, you watch it and you get it wasn't a judgmental episode, it was a sympathetic episode to the Queen. And, you know, you can take something out of that. But the thing is, all of these one-on-one meetings between every Prime Minister and the Queen were the most buttoned-down, secretive, no breach of any confidence. So how would the people who write The Crown know anything about what happened in those meetings?
Yeah,
and this is going to be the juicy one, isn't it? Because this is the Annus Horribilis series.
It is. This is Princess Diana leaving Charles and then dying, I think, this season.
Yeah.
Kathy in Christie's Beach has called in on about delays to the post. Morning to you, Kathy.
Morning, boys. I have family over in England, so what I do, I look online and look at the shops over in England, buy the presents there, and have them sent to my son. Well, I've got to send him a Christmas cake and a calendar for next year, so I don't have any postage, and sometimes it's free post over there. That's what I do. So if anybody that wants to, instead of sending, paying postage and that, to go online, look into the nice shops over there.
Buy it over there.
Buy the presents and do that.
That's a good idea,
That's
Kathy.
a great idea, Kathy.
I guess that's a trick of the modern world, isn't it? You don't have to buy something here to send it. You buy it over there and get it sent.
There's websites that let you do that for buying clothes in America.
Oh,
because there's a lot of places like Gap and Lucky Brand and, you know, all those places that you see in every mall you go to in the States that won't ship direct to Australia. But you can pay this company that has American storage, sort of Howard storage type addresses, and you order it online to one of those storage places, and then the people who run the storage place will then post it to you in Australia, and you pay a service fee for it. If you want to get, like, you know,
Makes
a
sense.
stack of cheap American clothes.
Makes sense. But Kathy's right. You're not bound by what Australia Post are up to any longer. There's certainly other options. It's a good point to keep in mind if you do miss the November 2nd date to send your parcels to the UK if you want them to get there by Christmas. 17 after. Remember people suggesting the post will die? There's what's going to become of the post, and the internet made it more popular than ever.
Yeah, crazy. Time
for traffic with summer just around the corner. Beat the rush and get your air conditioning sorted now with Mannix.
Thanks, Will. Got a few passing showers. So damp roads on the drive into work today, so do take it nice and easy. And look out for a burst water main. You'll find that at Burnside this morning, Greenhill Road near Glenburn Road. Currently got a lane closed with speeds out of 40 k's. Also got a lane out of action at Glenside, Fullerton Road near Main Street, and delays at Gilman for works on the Port River Expressway near the Hanson Road ramp, speeds 60. Look out for cameras today, Babacombe Drive, Moana, and Port Road, Adverts. Coles Express has award-winning Coles urban coffee culture from just $1. Be your own barista from just $1. Express yourself at Coles Express. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Everyday low prices, any time of year. Trust the mighty South Aussies. Great food lives here. Foodland, the mighty South Aussies, yeah. Foodland, the mighty South.
You're watching the 5AA live stream, thanks to Foodland.
Mighty South Aussies, yeah.
Got your car on the hoist, and I just wanted to show you.
Now you can see what we see.
The engine oil is very low. I'll just show you that now.
Autocam.
This is your cabin filter. As you can see, a fair bit of dust and dirt.
Real-time video sent direct to you from your Automasters technician.
You can see the outside of the throttle body's nice and clean. The inside here.
See any issue firsthand. How good? Real-time reporting with instant SMS approval. Call 1300 Automasters. Great service guaranteed.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, we have specialised in commercial and residential property management. But above all, we specialise in people, helping to make life easy for property investors and the tenants of their properties. Everyone is treated with integrity and respect. That's the Lynn Andrews way. For commercial and residential property management, we are here to help. Visit lynandrews.com.au.
If you have been approved a home care package through My Aged Care or NDIS, then listen to Elsie.
I used my funding to have my very own care alert to protect me while alone at home. Not long after, I fell over, couldn't get up. But my care alert came to the rescue and an ambulance was soon there to help. The best move I ever made, and it didn't cost me a cent.
Use your funding wisely and give yourself real peace of mind. Visit carealert.com.au or call 1300 75 85 95.
Hey Strikers fans, Jason Gillespie here. Forget footy season, it's time for SA to turn blue and get behind your mighty Adelaide Strikers. That's right, tickets to all WBBL and BBL matches are now on sale. And to welcome back the best fans in the league, We're excited to offer early bird pricing for a limited time across all matches. Don't delay. Visit adelaidestrikers.com.au today for links to purchase, and we can't wait to see you back in blue this summer.
You know what? When I worked at Mitzi's back in the day, I was considered the fourth diamond. Funny that was true. What is true, though, is the opening of the new Mitsubishi showroom at Wayville. It's been a while in the making, but I tell you what, it is totally worth it. You won't see or experience anything like it in SA. It is groundbreaking. So if you're buying a Mitsubishi or you're getting your car serviced, please head to Wayville Mitsubishi. It's now open opposite the showground, driven by Australian Motors.
AutoCam.
So this is the air filter out of your car.
Real-time video sent direct to you from your Automasters technician.
It's not actually the wheel bearing. What it is, the handbrake.
AutoCam. Real-time reporting with instant SMS approval. Call 1300 Automasters.
Kate Collins and Brendan Raglas. The faces you know and the team you can trust. 9 News. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
21 minutes after 7. Talking earlier about the impact of the flooding in the eastern states on Riverland communities here in South Australia. We'll be crossing up that way after 8 o'clock today. But first we wanted to check in on one of the hardest hit places in northern Victoria, Echuca, and it's where we find Isabella Stashkovsky, who's reporting for Nine's Today Show. Isabella, good morning to you.
Good morning. How you guys going?
We're good, thanks, Isabella. So it sounds like, what's it called? Campaspe is the name of the shire there, where Echuca and Moama sort of meet up. It sounds like it's really the epicentre of what's going on at the moment.
Yeah, it's been a pretty rough time. We've been on the road for about 7 days now, and these communities have been hit so hard. So a few days ago, we were in a town called Rochester. It's a small town. About 85% of the properties there have been inundated. And now this morning, it looks like the sewage system will be cut off for about 2 months. So a lot of us have been doing an amazing clean-up effort over the past 24 hours or so, but it's just been crazy. We had to get on a boat to even get through there just a few days ago, and now we're up in Echuca, which has already been hit from the Campaspe River. But the concern is, of course, that in the coming days there's going to be rain and the Murray River is going to peak, so essentially Echuca is going to be hit yet again. So where I'm standing right now, I'm really close to the banks of the Murray, and then nearby there's all these homes. So what the guys are doing here is they're building a clay levee. It's about 2.5 kilometres long. Local contractors, no money in it. They're just doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They've been working all throughout the night, and they're building this levee to protect homes and protect the town. But sadly, there are some homes on the other side of the levee that they've just said they can't save them and they are going to go under.
Did you say, Isabella, they're going to be without sewage for 2 months?
Looks like it in Rochester, yeah. So it's a prediction of about 6 to 8 weeks. And of course, the fear is that this rain is going to continue. So it's dry right now, but in the coming days, it's going to be some really hard rain. On Sunday will be the worst. And all these river systems are full. So where we are right now, there's the Campaspe, the Goulburn, which have already broken their banks. And then when the Murray breaks its banks, which is going to happen at some point, these towns are just going to get flooded again. So there's a really, really stressful situation for these communities. They're just trying to figure out what to do. A lot of people are right now displaced. Our quarantine facility that was built for COVID, that's now going to be sheltering people from a lot of areas like, for example, Shepparton, which has been inundated as well. And thousands of properties there have been affected. So there are thousands of people right now in Victoria who are displaced. They don't have a home and they don't know what they're going to do next.
Crikey. It's full on and, sad to say, but it sounds like it may yet get worse with all the rain. Isabella Stashkovsky, thank you so much for joining us this morning from Nine's Today Show in Echuca.
My pleasure, guys. Talk soon.
That's really frightening.
Could be worse, though. You could be Liz Truss. Did you see British Question Time last night? Where the opposition asked her a question, and then they looked around and they realised she wasn't even in the chamber. And then there was a genuine theory that she was having a full-blown NB and was hiding under a desk. And she wouldn't even come out. She eventually came out. Public life is brutal, and it's nowhere more brutal than on social media. Although I must admit that these, she knew what she got herself into, so I regard these comments as hilarious. A bloke called Matt Green writes this: Liz Truss has had to abandon her entire economic agenda. All she can rely on now is her deeply charismatic personality and sheer political skill. What about this one? Frankie Boyle writes, I hope Liz Truss will now apologise to the school she said overlooked her potential. 33,500 people have liked that tweet. Oh. This is my favourite, though. The others are a bit cruel. A guy called James Felton says, Liz Truss has hit that sweet spot where she's taking it easy because it's her first few weeks and phoning it in because it's her last few weeks.
Seems like it will be her last few weeks. It is.
They actually thought when she didn't show up in question time that she was about to resign.
But it feels like it's in play.
Mm.
It's utterly...
Well, she sacked the Chancellor, hasn't she?
So
he's gone.
So the entire premise that got her, that endeared her to the party faithful, that got her to the position of Prime Minister, she's had to entirely abandon because it tanked the economy instantly. So now she's in the untenable situation of championing a policy agenda that no one elected her to, whilst being significantly less popular in her party than the other guy who was promising to do what it is that she's doing now. Like...
Geez, Britain's a mess though, and some of the crazy talk around what policy options they've got plug their budget. Have you heard about the idea of a windfall tax?
No.
So it's a tax on any company that makes, and some people might like it, that makes sudden profits out of an unforeseen or unexpected event. For example,
toilet paper during COVID.
Correct. So Kimberly-Clark, suddenly their tax rate will go from 40 cents to 60 cents in the dollar.
Oh, wow!
And Pfizer, one of the most obvious examples. Or if you were Detmold making masks, normally you're making whatever it is you make, and then suddenly
your tax bracket jumps up.
The government rings and says, "Yeah, do you reckon you could make about 2 million masks for us by the end of next week?"
Sky at the moment has a ticker, a permanent graphic on the screen. What's the value of the pound right now? You don't want that.
No.
That's never a sign the economy's going well.
No.
They don't put that up there because it's booming.
Yeah, no.
Let's talk sport briefly with thanks to the great people at North Point Toyota, where you can get the same feeling you get with a new Toyota on a Toyota certified pre-owned Toyota. Here's a little bit of Rowie and with Mark Bickley last night.
What has to go right for Adelaide to knock on the door to the 8, Bix?
What we see in the midfield, I just think they need to add something to the midfield this year, and that's why I didn't mention Dawson as a defender. I just feel like he had such a great year last year. Ball in hand, he's so composed. I'd like to see if they can turn him into a midfielder. He's, a really good size, 6'2" or 3, makes good decisions with the ball in hand, and he just gives you a point of difference if he can go in there and feel comfortable, I guess, is the right way to put it, because you've got Laird, you've got Keys, you've got Berry and Saligo that look like they've got a future in there. Pedler and Schomburger too, you're hoping are going to continue to move forward and improve. And the other one I'd like to see go back in there and have a crack, whether that's pure midfield or more wing, is Wayne Miller. He's someone that's so important to Adelaide in terms of his ball delivery, and kicking into the forward line of Adelaide is going to be so important. If you've got, so many of those weapons up there, if all of a sudden it's Dawson and Miller and maybe a little bit of Pedler kicking the ball in there, gee, if you're a forward, that's a little bit better than what you've seen over the last couple of years. So I'll be interested next time we speak with Matthew Nix whether we ask them about what it looks like. What changes will you make to your midfield? Because I don't think anyone doubts that Laird and Keys and Berry and those guys can find the footy. They win their contested ball. It's what happens next and how they move it to get it inside their forward line, which I think is going to be the challenge for Adelaide.
We're in the daydream part of the football calendar where you can imagine anything and you're never going to be proven wrong until March next year. The sports show with Timmy G's not too far away from returning either, I can tell you. Enjoy the same feeling you get with a new Toyota on a Toyota certified pre-owned Toyota at North Point Toyota.
Sarah, I'm on bended knee and I'm asking, will you marry me?
Can I get back to you? Don't you hate waiting for things? Well, at Bob Burns Blinds, you won't have to. We can have your new roller blinds measured and installed in just 10 days. We make our blinds right here in Adelaide, not interstate, so there's no delay. You'll love the quality too. Do it. Say yes to Bob Burns Blinds and have them installed in 10 days or less. That's a promise. BobBurnsBlinds.com.au.
City Discount Tires.
Get saving this month at City Discount Tyres. When you buy 3 Falcon Zeek ZE914 car tyres, you'll get the 4th tyre free. The perfect tyre for cost-saving, fuel efficiency and performance. City Discount Tyres are a proud multi-tyre and wheel brand retailer offering great service at great prices. Visit citydiscounttyres.com.au to find your nearest store. City Discount Tyres. We're driven by value.
City Discount Tyres.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 23 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher. The search is continuing for 2 Mazdas taken in an early morning robbery at Mawson Lakes. It followed an altercation between a resident on Heron Walk and 3 people on a motorbike. The victim dropped his keys and phone after being punched in the face. The red and black Mazdas were last seen heading south. Checks on the motorbike reveal it was taken from Burnside earlier this month. A servo on Portrush Road at Evandale was robbed early this morning. Senior Constable Jen Cullinan says a man armed with a knife demanded cash and cigarettes.
He placed the items in a white shopping bag before he ran from the shop. He's described as being Caucasian, medium build, and was wearing a black hooded jumper, grey tracksuit pants, black shoes and black gloves. So they quickly set up cordons. However, the suspect hasn't been located yet.
And police are investigating a break-in at Parkside early this morning. Just before 3 a.m, 2 youths entered a property on Castle Street. One climbed through the living room window and was heard rummaging through the home before they realised the residents were there and fled. Police set up cordons but couldn't find the pair. There's expected to be a strong police presence around the Adelaide Convention Centre again today. Extinction Rebellion protesters have returned to the site as a 3-day oil and gas conference is held inside. 2 women were arrested yesterday and charged with loitering. Organiser Chris Johnson says they want to be heard.
It's deliberate. It's targeted at the fossil fuel industry, and we're really wanting to wedge apart the deep ties that our government has with that industry.
At least 4 people have been killed and dozens injured when a Russian military aircraft crashed into an apartment block. Brett McLeod has more.
The incident happened in the city of Yeysk, home to a large Russian airbase, across the Sea of Azov from Russian-occupied Ukraine. The Russian Defence Ministry said the twin-engine Su-34 bomber crash resulted from an engine failure on takeoff. A 9-storey tower block was left on fire as ammunition continued to explode. Vision appears to show explosions aboard the plane as it plunged towards the building. The Kremlin has ordered a criminal investigation.
And the White House has condemned deadly drone strikes from Russia on the Ukrainian capital. 4 people have been killed in Kiev as kamikaze drones dive-bomb the city. A new ethical fashion report has found more than 100 of the best-known clothing companies in Australia aren't paying those who make their clothes a living wage. Brands that scored a 0 include Industry, Novo Shoes, Nine West, Whitner, Windsor Smith and Shine. Companies making progress towards living wages include Kmart and Country Road. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
10-year warranty and 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Let's start with footy this time. Ross Lyon has met with St Kilda as they look to appoint a new coach. Lyon has confirmed he is interested in making a return to the Saints. Geelong great Jimmy Bartell says Lyon still has a lot of respect within the football industry.
Regarded as one of the great defensive tactical minds, and I played a lot of my football against Ross Lyon sides, of course, with the strong Saint sides and Fremantle Dockers, as Baz loves to say over there in the West. He's very tactically astute. You listen to him in the media, he's still on top of the game.
To cricket, and Australia has lost its final warm-up match ahead of its T20 World Cup campaign to India by 6 runs at the Gabba, but skipper Aaron Finch did hit some form with an impressive 76. Meantime, South Australia will need to bat well on day 3 of its Shield clash against Tasmania to give the side a chance of outright points. The Redbacks to resume at 2 for 21 in their second innings, giving them an overall lead of only 3 runs. Wes Agar took 4 wickets for the home side on day 2 and says there is a bit in the wicket.
Snivelling a bit when you get in the right areas, and we saw that tonight with Siddle. He was bowling good areas and got a few early wickets, but we've got some good batsmen in our sheds and batters that have done it on the world stage. So we have full confidence that we can put a good score on the board and our bowlers can defend it.
And Australian soccer star Sam Kerr has once again just missed out on the top gong in world football, coming third in the voting for the Ballon d'Or. And that's the 5AA sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Roads are damp after a few passing showers, so take it easy as you're heading into work this morning. Look out for reverse waterman at Burnside. It's Green Hill Road near Glenburn Road. Got a lane closed with speeds under 40 k's. Also got a lane out of action at Glenside, Fullerton Road near Main Street. Quite busy there at the moment. Slow going, Cross Road at Goodwood Road. And we've got a swag of cameras this morning. Look out for those. You'll find one Darley Road Paradise and Grant Road at Ranella. Are you considering solar power to save money for your home? Then speak to the name you know and trust for the right advice and the very best deal on solar. Talk to Manic Solar, Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA forecast, 23 today and partly cloudy, the same tomorrow, then a shower or two Thursday, also 23, Friday cloudy, 21. Right now it's 16 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Take a swing at cancer. Get involved in Cancer Council's The Longest Day. This ultimate golf challenge will test your skill, strength and stamina. Whether you're in it for 36, 54 or the longest 72 holes, you're helping raise much needed funds for cancer research, prevention and support. Start a team, choose a day and challenge yourself to Cancer Council's The Longest Day this December. Register now and tee off for a cancer-free future at longestday.org.au.
The Aussie summer is sneaking up on us, and if you're not daydreaming about hitting the road yet, a trip to the Zenith Caravan showroom will do the trick.
Now, Zenith means when something is at its peak, and if you've got one of these caravans latched to your car, it's hard not to feel like you're living life at your peak.
Don't spend your summer waiting. They've got both family and couples caravans ready for immediate delivery, so you could basically visit their showroom, then drive straight off and hit the road for your next adventure.
Plus, these fantastic caravans are Aussie built, so you know they're cut out for the Aussie weather, and they'll get you wherever you want to go.
See the sights and create lasting memories. Visit the Zenith Caravans team at 817 North East Road, Valley View, or at the 4-Wheel Drive Adventure Show this weekend.
Ladies, is the need to wee all the time making your life a misery? Caruso's Wee Less to the rescue. Caruso's Wee Less relieves the annoying and inconvenient feeling that you need to go to the bathroom too often and supports bladder health and function. So if your need to wee all the time is getting in the way of enjoying life, try Caruso's Wee Less today. Caruso's Wee Less is made in Australia, comes with a money-back guarantee and is available from leading pharmacies and health food stores. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
$22 to 8, talking about the embattled British PM Liz Truss, and just before 5AA News, here's a little bit of how it played out in Parliament.
But that's the job, making difficult decisions. There are difficult decisions to be made about what is happening in Ukraine, about the fact that President Putin has nuclear weapons, about the chaos caused by Brexit, gang crime, the climate crisis, Ebola in Africa. And all we know right now is, unless she tells us otherwise, that the Prime Minister is cowering under her desk and asking for it all to go away. Isn't it about time she did and let somebody else who can make decisions in the British national interest get in charge instead?
Yeah. Well, the Prime Minister is not under a desk, as the Honourable Lady. I can assure the House. I can assure the House that she is, with regret, she is not here for a very good reason.
Sometimes you should avoid the literal answer in politics.
Yes.
I can assure you the Prime Minister is not under a desk. The Prime Minister is not under a desk. That makes a good headline, doesn't it? It's just hysterical.
Especially when, as she said it, no one's really sure that's necessarily not true. It's entirely believable.
Oh, dear.
Far cry from the suddenly very stable-looking Australian politics. Phil Curry from the Australian Financial Review joins us as we are a week out from the federal budget. Not sure if that means he's hiding under a desk yet or not. Phil, good morning to you.
Yeah, morning. Not looking good over there, is it?
Oh, it's a total schmozzle.
No,
You must sort of be enjoying a bit of a quieter period, though, Phil, because the last 10 years it's been non-stop thrills and spills in Canberra. This is one of the most stable periods we've had, isn't it?
Yeah, it is indeed. I was actually talking to someone on the weekend who said, the thing I like about this government is I don't read about them. Thanks to COVID, especially, we've had politicians in our face for the last few years. But yeah, right, we've had some pretty shoddy governments since 2008. And I've always put that down to inexperience. We've had too many inexperienced prime ministers, Labor and Liberal, who just haven't been up to the rigours of it. And what we're seeing now is a return to people have been in the building for 20 years, and that's on the opposition side as well with Dutton, and Albanese. They're both old warriors, and you can sort of see there's a bit of a calm has returned to the place. We might be eating our words in a few months. Depends the way power prices are going. But look,
I guess it's calm politically, but it's not calm economically, and that's
that's right.
Framing next week's budget's going to be so hard for them.
Well, that's right. I mean, next week's budget, as we said last week's, a bit of a sort of trial run for the sort of mean budgets that are going to come afterwards in terms of softening us up for tax rises and spending cuts, to try and fix the budget going to the next election. So, but having a sort of calm hand on the tiller in these stormy times is also a good thing, and not panicking. But yeah, I think the test. The government's they're still getting a good run, and they're still very popular, and people are generally favourably disposed towards them. But, it's going to start getting difficult from next week onwards, I suspect.
Well, we're talking before, Phil, about some of the stuff, again, emanating out of the UK at the moment, where the budget's in such parlous shape after being battered for 2 years by COVID. There's speculation about things like a windfall tax, where you suddenly jack up the tax rate for companies that have a sort of unforeseen run of unprecedented profits. Do you think we're going to drift into crazy land policy-wise here in Australia too?
Look, no, and one of the things, the disaster in Great Britain, what's happened over there, they've got inflation at about 20%. Right? We think we've got a pad at about 7. It's running at about 20. Their economy's boiling, and the central bank over there, the Bank of London, is doing what the Reserve Bank here is doing, is ramping up interest rates, trying to stop people spending and bring inflation under control. And what Liz Truss did, just the dumbest thing in the world, was to just, in the middle of all that, say, hey, everyone's getting a big fat tax cut. Right, unplanned, unannounced, unscheduled, just straight out because we need to grow the economy. All that was going to do was worsen the inflation situation. You don't cut taxes in an inflation crisis. So, it's the same as giving cash handouts, basically, and so that's what caused the whole economy over there to melt down, and the bank had to intervene, and the bond market crashed, and that's why the Treasurer got sacked last week, and Liz Truss is now hiding under a bed, awaiting her fate. No one. This is what Jim Chalmers was saying the last few weeks. What happened in Britain was a cautionary tale, and what he was saying basically, this budget's coming up next week. Don't put your hand out for money, because we can't do it. If we do it, it's just going to make the situation worse. And that was really his overriding message. But he was also sort of dipping his toe in the water about knocking off our own tax cuts. But the trouble with that, they don't start for 2 years, so it was sort of disingenuous to try and equate that to what's going on in Britain, because no one here was proposing cutting taxes now in the middle of our own inflation spike. And that's the difference.
Yeah, no, exactly. Great analysis as always, Phil. Phil Curry, the National Political Editor at Fin Review. On you, mate.
17 minutes to 8. Describing the current situation of the South Road, the north-south upgrade as confused would be something of an understatement. Confusion was added to by virtue of a document that was leaked online, albeit it took some Googling to find, as I understand it. That said, it was put up in error that described some changes to the South Road upgrade in Hindmarsh, would change where the road went, go through the cemetery suddenly there near Adams Street, would mean there would be more homes that would need to be acquired. And look, right throughout this process, we've been speaking to people who just have always wanted a straight answer. Where do we stand? Most people made peace with the fact that if something this large is going to happen, some of us, it might be me, it might be my business, it might be whatever. What we can't abide is people being left in the dark. That's what the problem with this leak is that came out overnight. The government, for their part, have said it was in error and that we shouldn't be reading too much into it. But even predating that news story in the Tiser this morning, there have been all sorts of these edge cases where people aren't exactly sure where they stand. One of those involves Safe Place SA. Now, by the nature of the work they do at Safe Place SA, they kind of need some surety with the people they're dealing with, and it doesn't seem like they've got it. There have been reports that the premises will be acquired, or will it be bulldozed, or will it be bought, or will it be safe? want to get to the bottom of where they're at right now, because there's been a few iterations of this story now. Peter Cartabani is running Safe Place SA there in Glandore. Peter, good morning to you.
Good morning, David and Will.
So what's your understanding of what's going to happen next, Peter?
Well, actually, it's a little bit of a confusion. As you mentioned earlier, it's not going to be demolished. It's going to be acquired next month. So that was the confusion. It looks like it's going to be acquired. We don't have an exact date, but I've been told mid to late November, which is next month. So
what will that mean for Safe Place? What are you going to do?
For me personally, I'll move on and do something else. I'm quite happy with that, to be honest. Look, I'm in support of the North-South Corridor, and I've been in support of it since day one. It's actually the process. Personally, I can only speak about my personal experience. It really has been a mess from day one for me personally, yeah.
A lot of it just seems to be like a spectacular failure of communication, Peter. I mean, we had that silly situation, quite an insulting situation under the former government where the person who was the contact guy to find out if your house was going to be knocked down or not was on time off in lieu when the letters were put into letter boxes. And now we've got a leak under the new government where plan... not B, C, D, E, probably up to about plan X now, pops up online. It must be causing anxiety.
Yeah, I've mentioned the word communication probably 1,000 times since last October till this October. That's the number one reason, people fail or businesses fail. It's a lack of communication. I've mentioned it so many times, but we have a number of issues. I can speak personally about my situation, a number of issues that I believe that need to be rectified and sorted out. And I don't believe it's a political issue. I believe it's a community issue. And the more we speak about it, the more business, acquired property owners speak out. I think there's a number of issues that we have that really need to be rectified.
So what happens then when you guys get acquired, Peter, to your clients and the people you look after?
Yeah. Look, I'm working closely with Jane Stinson. She's actually been really, really good. I have to be honest and transparent. She's been working with Housing SA to make sure the interests of all these tenants is at number one, at the top of the list.
Okay, so that's not clear yet. They're not 100% sure where they're going to go.
No, they don't know yet, and the meeting hasn't happened. And I'm waiting. I received a phone call yesterday from an official from Housing SA, and we're organising a meeting this week. I haven't received a call back. And the meeting is going to be basically Housing SA official coming here and meeting every single tenant and making sure that they relocate them to another appropriate place of their choice.
Yeah, we'll stay in touch on this, Peter, because it sounds like there's still quite a few gaps in the process. Peter Cartabani from Safe Place SA in Glandore. And look, if you are one of those housing trust tenants, or a private homeowner who's in the frame, feel free to give us a call. We'd love to hear your story too, 8822 30000.
I'd love to hear from people too that are waking up this morning that felt they had some surety about the future of their property. They knew they were either going to be acquired or kept safe, that suddenly woke up and went, hang on, what are these new plans? Yeah. Oh, that's my place. If that's you listening right now, there's not many of those, but there are some out there. Do call us. Tell us what that experience has been like for you. 8223 text us on the Automasters text line 0480 1395. Let's check traffic. With summer just around the corner, beat the rush and get your air conditioning sorted now with Mannix.
Thanks, Will. Still got a few damp roads on the drive-in today, so do take it nice and easy on the way to work. And look out for Burst Watermate at Burnside. That's Green Hill Road near Glenburn Road. Got a lane closed and speeds at 40. Gillis Plains, you'll find power lines down at the moment. St Olds Road near North East Road. Take care through there. Actually, it's pretty slow going. Crossroad at Marion Road. Got a swag of cameras this morning. Look out for those. You'll find one Grant Road, Brunella, and another one Osmond Terrace at Norwood. It's the mid-season sale at Amart. Save big with up to 50% off bedroom and up to 50% off selected Silly Posturepedic mattresses. Hurry, offer ends soon at Amart. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
New Zealand. The next generation of mighty South Aussies have spoken.
Equal rights for everyone. Oceans without junk in them. No nasty chemicals in things.
Search Sustainable 7 to hear more about what the future's got in store for Foodland.
Plus, more highlights than any comparable New Zealand holiday. Departs Friday the 3rd of February or 3rd of March 2023. Call now or visit holidaywonders.com.au for this truly unbeatable offer.
The 88 O'Connell exclusive townhouse release is now selling. Step up your lifestyle in these luxuriously crafted homes with private walk-up entry and Centenary Street access. Be part of this incredible development, just a short stroll to the city, Adelaide Oval, and the best of North Adelaide's culinary and retail shopping. All the benefits of the 88 O'Connell lifestyle, but in your own private sanctuary. These exclusive townhouses are now selling. Visit 88o'connell.com.
Listen up. When we take control, we hold the key to ageing in our hands. Live Up is your new healthy ageing guide that can be accessed via phone, iPad or computer. Enjoy free expert advice, personalised support and community connections to help you age your way. Discover more at liveup.org.au. Live Up. Welcome to the upside of ageing.
Need a forklift? Don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. Toyota is the world's #1 forklift brand with a great range of pallet jacks, walkie stackers and reach forklifts right up to their leading Toyota counterbalance forklifts. Legendary reliability and safety with cleaner, greener electric options, Toyota can tailor the right forklift solution for you. It's all part of the Toyota forklift advantage. For more, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get a Toyota forklift.
G'day. It's Baz from FIVEAA Milk Company. South Australian dairy farmers are doing it tough right now, but at FIVEAA Milk we always look after our own, and you can too. When you reach for milk, reach for FIVEAA Milk and help support our hard-working South Australian dairy farmers and their families. Because right now, they need our help. 3 words make all the difference. FIVEAA Milk Company. South Australian first and proud of it.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
Eight minutes to 8. John Blake coming up in just a moment. Breaking at 8 after 8 o'clock. Then we're speaking with Dave Burgess, the Mayor of the Mid-Murray Council. We're going to get a South Australian perspective on what this massive high flow event that we hope doesn't develop into flooding here in South Australia will mean for our Riverland communities. But first, Lucy Loken in the studio with us. Morning, Luce.
Morning, guys. Well, I've got some airtime. I've got 2 things I'd like to do with you. First of all, short, sharp and shiny, the baby guesses. We're not taking any more due time guesses, but since David has been knocked out of the running, I thought I'd just go over who's already been knocked out because there's been a few.
Some eliminations.
Some eliminations from the baby due date guesses. Sue in Christie's Beach, Lindsay in Greenwith, Phil in Henley Beach, Andrew in Woodcroft, Sue in Valley View, and Dean in Craigmore, and David Penberthy. You are all out of the running for the $250 Foodland voucher.
I was never eligible, obviously.
No.
Would be the equivalent of insider trading.
But you would have had team pride if you had won it.
If she doesn't already have one, and I'm sure she's listening and she can text us yay or nay, I feel sorry for Sue in Christie's Beach.
I know.
She was part of the...
She got Gruyere wrong, and she was our earliest due date guess as well. She had 15th of October at 3:15 a.m.
Have we given Sue a mug before?
Yeah, let's give her a mug.
Sue was sending you out a mug.
They gave another mug. You have a cupboard full of mugs.
And who was the chap that she competed against in the Gruyere?
Oh, the Gruyere Gouda
If that
debacle.
was covered by the paper, that would be known as Gruyere Gate.
Gruyere.
Can we send him one? It was Tyson, wasn't it?
I'll have to go back and air check.
If you're listening, mate, I still feel bad. This is like, I sort of want to put my affairs in order.
Oh,
no,
are you all right?
I'm fine.
Oh my God. Anyway.
As far as setting things right at the end of one's life, this has got to be the least dramatic thing.
Yeah, that's right.
The only thing I've
That's the other way.
left to do is the Gruyere competition.
So we do have a whole stack of other listeners who've entered in their due dates, so we're still just on baby watch. Now,
yes.
brief discussion about Extinction Rebellion yesterday. We won't go into it too much today because we're giving them the airtime that they so desire, but we did have an anonymous text here from someone who attended the oil conference. On this person's way in, they were held up by Extinction Rebellion and witnessed their disruption all throughout the day. It was highly uncomfortable and I felt like a criminal. This is their text. The irony of the situation is that the theme of this year's conference is leading a sustainable future of accessible and responsible energy, and at least half of the discussion and presentations taking place at the conference are about decarbonisation, transition to greener energies, hydrogen production and storage, and repurposing existing infrastructure for future energy. If only they knew that we were in there trying to come up with solutions for the future. We are the technical people at the forefront of the energy transition. I wish they could understand this and support this. What they're doing is incredibly counterproductive to the cause.
It's a great email.
It's a really good email.
And it's something that maybe it goes underreported. It certainly goes not that particularly well understood. But you know who sniffs the breeze best and where the world's going? It's a lot of these big companies. It's big energy companies. They get it. Big car companies get it.
Well, there's nothing like...
They're making huge changes.
Yeah, and there's nothing like the profit motive.
Correct.
To actually straighten you up. Because if public opinion is swinging against you, which it is... I mean, we just elected a massively pro-climate change Labor government and a raft of teal independents. People are onto this as an issue.
But it's this sort of dopey boogeyman politics that, these guys are the forces of evil. Yeah. That, they'll be dragged kicking and screaming to change. And it's just not how it plays out in reality. They're companies that want to turn a profit. They've got shareholders they're answerable to. There's change that happens. But, I mean, as we explored in depth yesterday, that this is a particular group that isn't interested in the facts or nuance.
No. We're going to mount a text about that yesterday as well. A lot of people asking very simple questions about, electric vehicles. They're still going to need plastic. They're still going to need things that are actually made out of... You can't make an electric car out of, hemp fibre. Well, Cheech and Chong tried that.
It's time for John Blake. Thanks
Up in
to
smoke.
Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, Interstate Freight Distribution, Warehousing and Local Adelaide Couriers. Call Aussie Fast on 13 13 64.
Yes, Steph?
Good morning, Premier. Tom Goodson-Tonus is here to see you.
Tell him to go away.
He wants you to go away. Oh, so shall I go in? Yes, you can go in.
Come in, Tom.
Hello, Premier Peter.
G'day, Tom.
I was just reading the Advertiser and they've got a bit in there about the top 10 psychics in South Australia.
Oh, great.
They've also got a competition going to find SA's cutest pussycat.
Great, sounds like world-shattering stuff.
I was thinking maybe we should hire a psychic.
What for?
Well, so they can tell us what's going to happen,
They wouldn't know.
But when we get into a situation where, we don't know what to do, they can give us some useful advice.
How would a psychic know what to do?
Well, they could just dial up Don Dunstan or
What?
Tom Playford.
Why?
And ask them what they would have done,
Why should a dead premier know what to do when we don't
Because
know?
dead ones are always more knowledgeable. Everybody knows that.
Really?
Yes, because the spirit world is much more...
How would it look if it got out that I consulted a psychic and asked them where to build the new hospital?
Well, Winston Churchill and Franklin D. Roosevelt used psychics to make important decisions during the war.
And that's why we won?
Well, obviously.
Adolf Hitler used a psychic too. Why didn't he win the war?
Well, because...
Yeah?
His psychic wasn't as good as the ones that...
Well, if they don't all come to the same conclusions, Tom, what's the point of them? You may as well ask the cat.
Well, I'll tell you what, the ancient Egyptians thought cats were in touch with the spirit world. That's why there's so many Egyptian cat statues and pictures of cats inside the catacombs.
Goodbye, Tom.
Spooky that the Advertiser has the psychics and the cats in the paper at the same time, don't you reckon?
No.
See you later, Premier Peter.
Goodbye, Tom. Hey, listen, try to find me a dead cat, will you? Preferably one that's been run over.
What for?
I'm going to make him Transport Minister.
There's a mummified cat on North Terrace at the museum.
Is there?
In the Egyptology section, a cat that was buried with one of the.
Oh, I don't remember seeing that.
The members of the royal family, the upper echelons, were the ones who got the the caskets and everything else, and got to go inside a pyramid, and there was a cat that was buried, a pet cat.
Will you be buried with Paddy and Zorro?
Yeah. Oh. I love them. But...
Plead the fifth, Dave. Minute to 8.
So you've got a will. That's good. But do you know where it is? Or when it was updated last? Have your circumstances changed? An old or poorly thought out will can leave problems for your family and those you love. And it can be expensive to sort out. Don't let that be your legacy. From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, you can trust Donlan Lawyers to help carry out your wishes. Wills and estate planning? Visit donlanlawyers.com.
Callum here for Edwardstown Mazda. We get it, nobody likes to wait, especially for a new Mazda SUV. So here's some good news from the team. We've got some models in stock right now at Edwardstown Mazda, and we have more arriving really soon. That's got to make your day. Reserve your Mazda SUV now and ask about the Edwardstown Mazda 5-day turnaround promise. Only at Edwardstown Mazda.
It's gotta be.
LMVD 207428.
Now, SA wouldn't be SA without its iconic businesses shaping our community, and this week's Business of the Week embodies just that. Zenith Caravans.
Now, you know, Will, the definition of zenith is when something's at its peak, and having one of these caravans latched to your car is definitely living at your peak.
Yeah, you just can't help daydreaming about driving around Australia for a few weeks, a few months even, knowing everything you need is there.
And look, they've got it all ready to go, so you could basically visit their showroom, then hit the holiday road.
Zenith Caravans have really thought of everything. One particular handy feature is this little hidden ledge outside the caravan, just perfect for a bottle of red.
Definitely living your Zenith, Will. If you want to see the Aussie sights, see the Zenith Caravans team first at 817 North East Road, Valley View.
Kate Collins and Brenton Radless, the faces you know and the team you can trust. 9 News, made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's FIVEAA.
Partly cloudy, 23 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher. 2 cars have been stolen after an assault at Mawson Lakes early this morning. Senior Constable Jen Cullinan says a man was punched in the face in his driveway.
A resident of Heatherton Walk was returning home when he spotted 2 youths near his motor vehicle parked on the driveway. He shouted at the youths who walked away, and they were collected by a third man who was on a motorbike. The trio returned on the bike, approached the victim and punched him in the face, causing him to drop his keys and phone.
2 youths then drove off in his red Mazda and a black one parked on the street. A man armed with a large kitchen knife robbed a service station at Evandale early this morning. He fled the Portrush Road OTR with cash and cigarettes in a white shopping bag. A police dog was called in to search for the man, but he hasn't been found. Victoria's north is facing a second wave of devastation from downpours that will lash the state this week. Up to 2,000 properties in Echuca are expected to come under pressure from today. Isabella Stikowski is there.
Echuca is bracing for round 2. The Campaspe River has now peaked and overnight dropped some 10 centimetres. Exhausted CFA volunteers tell us they're relieved, but their next challenge is frightening. Already it's estimated hundreds of homes have been impacted here. Many are still inundated, but when the rain comes and the Murray peaks, up to 1,200 homes could be in the firing line over a 4-day period. The community here has banded together, all hands on deck, with the army even involved. Their spirit is strong, but this could be one of the town's biggest challenges yet.
Health experts are warning Australians to be alert and aware of the potentially deadly invasive meningococcal disease with cases on the rise. Babies aged 2 and under and adolescents between 15 and 19 are most vulnerable, with the disease transmitted by nose and throat secretions. Cases dipped during the pandemic, but with travel back on the cards, the disease is again circulating around the community. Infectious diseases expert Robert Boy says it needs to be taken seriously.
If you fear you have meningococcal disease, you should consult your GP rapidly, and if you're very unwell, go straight to the emergency department. It's a nasty disease in which you can progress from being well one day to being severely ill the next.
At least 4 people are dead after a Russian military plane crashed into an apartment building near the border with Ukraine. Jonathan Kersley reports.
Russia's defence ministry says the Su-34 supersonic fighter jet crashed into an apartment building in Kyiv after an apparent engine fire. Kyiv is in Russia, about 70 kilometres from the Ukrainian city of Mariupol, which is under Russian occupation. The crash came after Russian drone strikes on the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv, which killed at least 4 people. It's been reported the drones were Iranian. The White House has condemned the attack and raised concerns over the close relationship between Iran and Russia, and says it's a sign Russia is struggling to get supplies on the ground in Ukraine.
Embattled British Prime Minister Liz Truss is adamant she'll lead her party to the next general election. That's despite many saying she won't see the week out in the top job. She's apologised for her mistakes and assured the BBC she's not going anywhere.
I'm sticking around because I was elected to deliver for this country, and that is what I am determined to do. I will lead the Conservatives into the next general election. I've been elected to this position to deliver for the country.
Now turning to 5AA's sport.
All new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander with 10-year warranty, 10 years capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi.
And with everything cricket, here's Tom Wren.
Yeah, we'll start there, Mel. Australia is heading into its T20 World Cup title defence without a win in its past 4 encounters. The Aussies going down to India by 6 runs in the final warm-up match before Saturday's opener against New Zealand. There was, however, some good news. Skipper Aaron Finch getting some much-needed time at the crease, blasting 76 from only 54 balls. He says their run chase did indicate to the team they need to be more clinical in the back end of their innings.
I think it's somewhere that we've probably haven't capitalised in the last probably 3 or 4 chances we've had to chase down totals. I thought our bowling effort was fantastic to drag them back after a blistering start from KL in the power play. He got off to a flyer as he can do.
The West Indies, meantime, have started their campaign with a shock 42-run loss to Scotland, while Zimbabwe beat Ireland by 31 runs in Hobart. Meantime, South Australia's bowlers have got them back into the contest against Tasmania on day 2 of their Shield clash at Adelaide Oval. Wes Agar led the way with 4 wickets as the Tigers were dismissed for 245, giving them a slender first innings lead of 18. But SA's in early trouble with the bat in its second innings at 2 for 21. Well, Ross Lyons a step closer to returning to coach St Kilda after a 4-hour meeting with the club's hierarchy. Lyon confirmed his interest as he emerged from club president Andrew Bassett's Bayside home. Saints chief executive Simon Lethlean also attended that meeting. And the New York Yankees have forced a deciding Game 5 in their playoff series against Cleveland after a 4-2 win in Game 4. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Keep your eyes out for a crash this morning around Croydon, South Road and Port Road. That's causing a few delays at the moment. It's got a worse water main slowing things up Burnside, Green Hill Road near Glenburn Road, 1 lane closed and speeds down to 40. While at Gillis Plains, there's power lines down. That's at Olds Road near North East Road. Take it easy if you're heading through there. Busy at the moment, South Road to Karata Park with a camera, Aldinga Beach Road and Aldinga Beach. For a limited time, take advantage of exceptional offers on select Mercedes-Benz demonstrators. Shop in store or online. Conditions and exclusions apply. Ends October 31. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA weather, 23 today and partly cloudy tomorrow, 23. Thursday, a shower or 2, 23. Friday, cloudy, 21. Right now, it's 16 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, we have specialised in commercial and residential property management. But above all, we specialise in people, helping to make life easy for property investors and the tenants of their properties. Everyone is treated with integrity and respect. That's the Lynn Andrews way. For commercial and residential property management, we are here to help. Visit lynandrews.com.au.
G'day, it's Merv Hughes here. After years of snoring like a train, the missus sent me for a CPAP Direct sleep test. I'm sleeping quiet and waking up refreshed.
If your CPAP gear needs some TLC, bring it in to CPAP Direct this month for a free health check. Our clinicians will make sure everything is optimised to give you the best result. Book your appointment at cpap.com.au.
Find your local store at cpap.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
8 after 8. Breaking at 8 coming up shortly. Behind closed doors after 8:30. We're going to talk about the floods. Both what's happening in the eastern states, but what the impact might be in the Riverland here in South Australia very shortly. Dave Burgess is the Mayor of the Mid-Murray Council. And we just want to reiterate, as the member for Chafee, Tim Whetstone, said to me in a text yesterday, if you've got a weekend plan, you come up to the Riverland, you want to head up for a trip, spend some time there. It's one of the most beautiful places on planet Earth. Regular holidays we had there as kids all the time. Love the Murray. Right now, it's just a high flow event. There's no reason to be alarmed about it. And you made this point, and I think it was a really good one at the start of the program. What we're talking about is a scenario 6 to 8 weeks away when the water all flushes through. So we just want to be wary of that and get you a sense of what's happening on that front without building it up to suggest we're necessarily going to be facing what they've faced in the eastern states. So we'll talk more about that with Dave Burgess after 8:15 today. It's time for Breaking at 8.
Now, I'll openly admit I've become a bit obsessed with this story for the simple reason that it involves a really decent family that I think is, with the exception of the work that's been done by Frank Pangello, I for the life of me cannot understand why more people in politics in Australia and also our diplomats working at the High Commission in Penang are not doing more. In fact, are not screaming from the rooftops about the treatment that the Jenkins family is sustaining amid this coronial inquest into the disappearance and presumed murder of the Adelaide grandmother, Anna Jenkins, back in 2017. Now, every night for the last 5 days or so, I've been talking and texting her son, Greg, who's for the 25th time at his own expense, he's back in Malaysia. And on Friday, he gave evidence himself before the Malaysian coroner, who has actually been one of the few people involved from the Malaysian authorities who was at least giving him a platform to get to the bottom of what happened to his mum. Well, the evidence yesterday before this inquiry, I think, has once and for all belled the cat as to what happened, which appears to be that after Mrs. Jenkins disappeared and when her body was subsequently found, because it was found on the premises of a brand new multi-million-dollar off-the-plan apartment complex, the last thing anybody wanted to do was reveal publicly that a dead person was there. They were in the business of trying to sell all of these apartments, and Mrs. Jenkins, who disappeared after she caught an Uber, she'd gone to the dentist and she was then on her way to visit her 101-year-old mother. That was where she vanished. Now, the Malaysian police, they never listed her as a missing person. They did not do a proper interview with the Uber driver, who was the last person to see her alive. But the evidence yesterday was just jaw-dropping. What happened in the coroner's court in Georgetown, Penang, was that the project manager for the Berjaya Group, who are the developers that were working on this project, they were shown Mrs. Jenkins' remains in one area, despite the fact that there were other personal effects and indeed physical remains dotted at different locations around the construction site. Now, the project manager, under oath yesterday, giving evidence, he admitted that after seeing Mrs. Jenkins' human remains, he ordered construction workers on the site to bury them. And that's it. He didn't report it to the police. He didn't tell his supervisors. So this dead South Australian woman, her body's finally been found, and they said, just hide it. That is
mind-boggling.
Yeah, it's a massive story. And
that's a crime in Australia.
Yeah, well, but it just shows the looseness of the way all of this happened, and who, I'm not sure what the chain of events was, whether it was the company saying, just ice this, we don't want anyone to know about it, whether it was the cops doing it on their behalf, knowing how much money was involved in this project. But it's now become painfully clear that what poor old Greg and his sister Jen, who's here in Adelaide following all of this, the reason that the family's being treated as an irritant, even to the point of having their mother's good name. This woman, she was so religious, she carried a wooden crucifix with her everywhere she went. Last week, not only have the cops suggested that she might have been involved in drugs, last week they were trying to argue that she might have been a victim of domestic violence and that she disappeared, vanished, because she was trying to get away from her husband, who's this genial old bloke who like Greg, because they're an army family, an Air Force family, has devoted his entire life to serving his country. You know, a loving father, a loving grandfather, and their MO is to just defame the family. You know, when the cops up there were pressed for evidence as to why they thought she might have been in a domestic violence situation, the one thing they said was that she was wearing a wind cheater that had the word escape written on it, and it might have been a signal that she was trying to escape from an abusive relationship. Oh. Like, would you even put that forward with a straight face as a theory, as a competent detective?
Embarrassing.
So this poor bloke though, he's up there on his own. He's got some Malaysian lawyer who sounds a bit like he's going through the motions. The High Commission, the assistance that they're providing only extends up to observing what's happening in the coroner's court. He's getting no actual assistance from the Australian government. This woman's been robbed. She's been killed, God knows how. Her son himself was the only person who actually had to go up there and go through the ordeal of finding his mother's body parts, jawbones and coccyx and all her things, like her Clare Country Club pen. And now he knows, as a matter of fact, that when they found his poor mother's body, they just said, just hide it. It's a disgrace.
It's just that story somehow managed to get more appalling as we've followed it.
It's a remarkable story.
16 minutes after 8, this will be a nice palate cleanser. Tom Wren mentioned this at 6:20 this morning. The amazing feat of Ned Brockman, who ran 3,952 Ks in 47 days. Now, you can do the math on that and work out how much he ran. For example, on the second last day, he chalked up a lazy 113 Ks, I think it was. And he just continued to do that day after day. Along the way, raised more than $1.47 million for homelessness. He moved to Sydney and was just stunned by how much homelessness there was around the place. So he was determined to do this. Ran from Cottesloe to Bondi in 47 days. It is just it's stunning. Here's his mother speaking, Kylie Brockman, on 2GB this morning.
The support has been phenomenal. Oh my goodness, and just such a surprise. So we went upstairs, and he had a bit of a moment to himself, just with Gemma and us, you know, the little bubble floating in and out of his room, and just had to a minute to process a bit of what just happened, because it was, and also to hear again, because it was so loud. He said in that as he was running down, just so incredibly loud. The energy was huge. So he just had a minute, and then eventually came upstairs, and there were a few speeches and images. Brad's images being played, and then just some food and a bit of a sit-down talk to all the people that were there.
Amazing effort.
Australian distance runners have been quoted in articles talking about this feat. Just in terms of the fundraising feat should be celebrated. It's remarkable, and what an amazing guy. But the physical feat has been commented on people like Steve Monaghetti. Now, Steve Monaghetti's quoted on Fox Sports as saying that this has blown him away, that a human body is even physically capable of this. He says, I thought I was an endurance athlete, but this puts it into perspective. I was running twice a day. That was 13 hours of running a week. This was 13 hours a day for 47 days.
How do you do that?
And he goes on to say, you run a marathon, and you get the physical toll, then you get this emotional toll, and on a cellular level, you're putting your body under all sorts of stress. And he says it was like the days after running a marathon for him were like he'd been hit by a bus. This guy was running 2 marathons a day for 2 months.
You must have some unique physical makeup and mental.
This is one of the great physical feats in human history.
I couldn't run from here to South Terrace without keeling over.
19 after 8.
I hate running. I hate it. I've always hated it. You do it quite a lot, don't you?
I did until I hurt my knee, but
that's how you maintain such cracking form.
Oh,
mate.
yeah, that's right.
He's got the guns out again, folks. If you're not on the,
we're ending this conversation.
If you're not on the live stream, you're missing a treat.
We're ending this conversation. Ned Brockman, we salute you.
You want to come to the gun club?
All right, let's go to check traffic.
Oh, the burn.
With summer just around the corner. Beat the rush and get your air conditioning sorted now with Manning.
Thanks, Will. At Croydon, look out for a crash today. South Road at Port Road. At Burnside, you'll find a burst water main. Green Hill Road near Glenburn Road. Got a lane closed with speeds out of 40. While at Gillis Plains, power lines at St Olds Road near North East Road. Busy at the moment, Taylor Road at Carrickhill Drive with cameras Aldinga Road, Wollonga and Darley Road at Paradise. At Big W, save every time you shop with thousands of specials across the store and online. Now that's value every day. Shop now at bigw.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Everyday low prices, any time of year. Trust the mighty South Aussies. Great food.
You're watching the 5AA live stream, thanks to Foodland. The worst. 4 p.m. weekdays on 5AA.
Are you ready to try new interests and activities or enjoy some old ones? With Live Up, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3 to find and connect with local community groups to suit you. So if you're ready to keep up, show up and step up, then join up. Discover more at liveup.org.au. Live Up. Welcome to the upside of ageing.
G'day, it's Eddie May from NRG Solar. More and more South Australians are taking control of their energy bills with solar and battery storage. In fact, Australians are taking up battery storage in record numbers because they're sick of rising power bills and being locked into a system where someone else calls the shots. The other huge bonus of going with NRG Solar and battery storage is that you'll be protected by blackouts with an uninterrupted power supply. Take control. Visit nrgsolar.com.au.
G'day, it's Baz from FIVEAA Milk Company. Just wanted to make sure you knew that our milk only comes from SA dairy farmers. So make sure the milk you buy is only from SA dairy farms. Because you see, no matter how tough it gets out there, our dairy farmers always put you first. So let's support them. Look for FIVEAA Milk Company products in your supermarket. 3 words make all the difference. FIVEAA Milk Company. South Australian first and proud of it.
You can do just about anything online. Buy a couch, find the love of your life, enter the cryptocurrency market. But there's one thing so important that you should never do online, and that's your will. From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, Donlan Lawyers can answer your questions and help carry out your wishes. The sort of thing you just can't do with an online will. Visit donlanlawyers.com and organise an appointment today. That's donlanlawyers.com.
G'day, it's Jared for Southern Mitsubishi. Thinking Mitsubishi or servicing your existing car? Southern Mitsubishi is your absolute go-to. Their state-of-the-art servicing technology and world-class quality control systems will ensure your vehicle gives you many years of hassle-free motoring pleasure. The same goes for buying a new Mitsubishi. They stock the full range, all designed to thrill. So get in touch with the amazing team at Southern Mitsubishi, 147 Main South Road, Morfett Vale, driven by Australian Motors, LVD 80.
Kate Collins and Brenton Raglas, the faces you know and the team you can trust. 9 News, made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
23 minutes after 8. Started a conversation yesterday. I've got a number of texts on it too with regard to how the Eastern States flood situation will impact Riverland communities over the course of the next couple of weeks. There's some good analysis that the Tiser are carrying at the moment that quotes SA Water, who keep an eye on this kind of thing consistently, saying last Friday the Department of Environment said the flow in the Victorian SA border was about 79 gigalitres a day. Back in 2016, it was about 95, and they're forecasting that we'll expect a top of it in excess of 100 gigalitres a day. The high watermark on this front is the 1974 floods, at which point the flow at the border was at about 170 gigalitres a day. So a fair way short of that, but wanted to get a sense from on the ground what people in the Riverland are expecting. Mid-Murray Mayor Dave Burgess joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Mayor, good morning to you.
Good morning.
So everyone who lives on the river, Mayor, they've got a great sense of history, and we talk in years to describe these catastrophic floods, and there's that fantastic tree in Loxton with all the years up the side of the tree. In terms of those previous events, what do you think we're looking at here?
Oh, look, I don't think we'll be getting to a 74, but Mother Nature's unpredictable what it's doing across the basin at the moment. If we get around the 96 mark, that'll upset a few shack owners, a bit of council infrastructure around the place and boat ramps, create a bit of a safety issue for people boating with the snags that float down the river with it, but not a massive problem and not a lot of housing inundated by people that are permanently in the area. There's a lot of high ground in the Riverland, so plenty to see and do, and it's actually a phenomenal event to see things like Lock 1 level on both sides at Blanchetown.
Wow. Yeah. That'd be amazing. Is there anything you guys as a council can do to prepare, or is everything you've done pretty much been done?
We've had boat ramps we've had to close. We've got floating pontoons on boat ramps that we've had to remove. Any soft items we move so they can't be floating down the river, and the rest is table and chairs, picnic settings and things like that we just have to let go under and clean up later.
Have we sort of learnt from the cumulative experiences of those past events though, Mayor? We drove to Mount Gambier on the weekend, and driving over the bridge in Murray Bridge, you look at the houses there to your left when you're heading south down sort of towards the Coorong. They're all, by and large now, everyone sort of seems to have planned for the worst with the way they locate their homes, haven't they?
Pretty much so. So planning along the river is the 56 floodline. You're very lucky if you can build below that. If you've got an existing residence and you travel up around Morgan or even Walker Flat and Manham, all the new residents now need to be built at 2.6 metres above ground level. So that means the bottom area needs to be open, so when the water comes, it can't do a lot of damage, and all your infrastructure and living areas are upstairs. So it's got to be a massive flood to get to that level.
Yeah. And are you worried?
So we are learning.
Sorry, man. I was just going to say, finally, people keep this in perspective. I mean, we don't want people cancelling their holidays on account of this like it's the sort of Boxing Day tsunami or anything, do we?
This is flooding on the river is a totally different event. It comes slowly, it creeps up, and then it will creep away. There is a lot of high ground, a lot of good accommodation, a beautiful place to see and visit and sit on the cliff. To see the valley in a flood like this is a very rare event. I'd encourage people to see our beautiful red gums getting a nice big drink.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, good on you. Dave Burgess, the Mayor of the Mid-Murray LGA. Thanks for joining us this morning.
It's 27 minutes after 8. Caroline O'Connor coming up in just a moment, who is teaming up with the Adelaide Symphony Orchestra for what is going to be a pretty extraordinary show celebrating Barbra Streisand's 80th birthday. We'll talk to her about that and go behind closed doors after 5AA News.
Patience pays off, especially if you've been holding out for a great deal on a new Volkswagen. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen is now receiving truckloads of new Volkswagens. Yes, they're coming. And they're available at amazing prices. Remember Mawson Lakes Volkswagen for servicing too, with next day servicing and free loan cars. Get a great deal on Volkswagen now. Don't dilly-dally, dawdle or delay. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city.
Hi, I'm Kay. I work with St Louis Home Care and I'm an enrolled nurse and I work as a community coordinator.
St Louis was started by my great-grandmother and now is one big happy family with lovely staff just like Kay.
The people that work for St Louis are very loving, caring.
Whether it's gardening, meals, shopping, home maintenance or social activities, we help people stay at home for longer.
If you're interested, come and join us.
Google St Louis Home Care today.
Now, there's been plenty of talk about interest rate rises having an impact on the real estate market, but there are still a lot of buyers keen to find their perfect home.
And Adelaide's become a national property hotspot with home values here outpacing every other capital city.
Now, we know our friends at Toop and Toop work across all suburbs, and we can tell you right now they're working with 5,212 buyers in Medindie, 5,481 in Dulwich, 5,959 in Unley, and these people are all searching for the perfect property in these specific locations.
So if you're thinking of selling and would like to know how many buyers Toop and Toop are working with in your suburb, go to their website, toop.com.au.
If you want retaining wall sleepers that will last, the only concrete sleepers you should be using is Outback Sleepers. They're the strongest concrete sleeper available, and they come with a 35-year product warranty. Once it's in, nothing's going to move it. Nope, still there. Ask for the brand Outback Sleepers, sold at over 60 local landscaping and hardware stockists. Or look online at outbacksleepers.com.au.
Every week, a team of generous people deliver delicious meals to wonderful people.
Well, I like to drive, and my mate here doesn't play golf.
Nah, it ruins a nice walk.
So we thought we'd team up and give Meals on Wheels a hand.
Got a car, a licence and a bit of time? Just a few hours in the middle of the day.
And people are always happy with the meals and a chat.
He does love to chat.
I'm listening.
Like to drive? We could do with you. Go to mealsonwheelssa.org.au. Meals on Wheels. Great food, great people.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 23 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher. A Mawson Lakes resident has been punched in the face before 2 cars were stolen. The man was assaulted shortly before 1 a.m. on Heron Walk. He was targeted by a trio who'd returned on a motorbike after being seen earlier acting suspiciously in the area. Senior Constable Jen Cullinan says he dropped his keys and phone.
2 of the youths have grabbed the keys and they've stolen a red Mazda sedan from the driveway and also a black Mazda sedan which was parked on the road. So the vehicles were last seen heading south on Gannett Street, and the third man escaped on a BMW motorbike, which was reported stolen on the 5th of October.
There's been an early morning break-in at Parkside. The residents called police around 3 after hearing a person inside their house, the suspect getting in via the living room window. Another person was on the property. The 2 youths were wearing all black but ran off when they realised someone was home. A large kitchen knife has been used to hold up an Evandale service station. The On the Run on Portrush Road was targeted just before 4:30 this morning. The offender ran off with cash and cigarettes. Patrols set up cordons and dog operations were called in, but the man hasn't been located. 180 Defence Force personnel will join the flood response in regional New South Wales. Clinton Maynard reports.
The SES currently has 70 flood warnings across the state and 7 of those are at emergency level. There are floods across much of the west and the south, with the Murray River town of Moama the focus. There's concern rain forecast for tomorrow and then on the weekend could bring further flooding. The Commonwealth has now agreed to a New South Wales request for 180 troops to assist, mostly to provide relief to SES crews. Major flooding is possible in Narrandera later today. There are emergency warnings for some parts of Wagga Wagga and the Forbes area is still of concern.
A training accident has seen a Russian military plane crash into an apartment building in the country's south, killing at least 4 people. Brent McLeod has more.
Vision shows the twin-engine Su-34 bomber on fire before it slammed into a 9-storey residential building. The full load of fuel fed intense flames as ammunition exploded long after the crash. The Russian Defence Ministry says the aircraft suffered engine failure on takeoff, but a criminal investigation has been launched by Russia, given the incident happened 70 kilometres from Russian-occupied Ukraine.
Another event at next year's Adelaide Festival has been announced. Lord will play the Village Green at Adelaide Oval on March 16. It'll be the singer's first show here since 2014. The first tickets for Festival Friends go on sale this morning. turning to 5AA Sport.
All new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander with 10-year warranty, 10 years capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Australia has played its final warm-up match before its T20 World Cup defence begins on Saturday. The Aussies going down by 6 runs to India, but bowler Kane Richardson says they got what they needed from the match.
I think there was probably a handful of us that needed the match time, coming off little or not any cricket at all, so that was the important part of it.
Yeah, Richardson, a key part of yesterday's match. He took 4 wickets in an impressive display. The West Indies, meantime, have started their campaign with a shock loss to Scotland. Meantime, South Australia has finished day 2 of its Shield clash against Tasmania at 2 for 21 in its second innings. That's after the Tigers were dismissed for 245 in their first innings, giving them a first innings lead of 18 runs. To football, Ross Lyon has confirmed his interest in returning to St Kilda to coach after a 4-hour meeting with the club's hierarchy. Lyon walked out on St Kilda more than a decade ago to take over at Fremantle and hasn't coached since 2019. Saturday's Cox Plate Field will be finalised this morning when the Moonee Valley Racing Club Committee meets. Australia's Sam Kerr has been voted the 3rd best women's footballer in the world at the Ballon d'Or Awards. Karim Benzema won the men's award. And in the NFL today, Denver are up against the LA Chargers to wrap up week 6 of the competition. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Croydon, look out for a smash this morning. It's on South Road at Port Road. Burnside, Burst Watermain, Green Hill Road near Glenburn Road. Got a lane closed with speeds out of 40. While at Gillis Plains, power lines are down at Alta Road near North East Road. Busy ride now. South Road is driving through Mile End with cameras, Main South Road, Ranella and Nottage Terrace at Medindi. Order your C coffee on the OTR app and enjoy a freshly ground barista-made coffee. It's as easy as click and collect. OTR. Making life easy. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA forecast, partly cloudy for your Tuesday, 23, partly cloudy tomorrow, 23, Thursday a shower or 2, 23, and then 21 and cloudy on Friday. Right now it's 16 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
25 to 9, behind closed doors coming up in just a moment. We might talk too about this state government initiative to put warnings about meth use on pizza boxes. They're trying to get to young people. It'll be on gaming forums and other places
That's
as
a
well.
really innovative idea, I think.
Yeah, we'll talk about it more in about 15 minutes' time. But I wanted to continue a conversation we just started in our 5AA news break with the wonderful Caroline O'Connor, who's coming back to Adelaide in December, should I say, 2nd and 3rd, to celebrate Barbara Streisand's 80th birthday with the Symphony Orchestra in this terrific show, To Barbara with Love. We're hearing about, Caroline, your history here in SA. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you both. Nice to be here.
I didn't know you had the connection to Elizabeth, 10-pound poms. Tell us about that.
That's right. Well, my parents both born in Ireland. They had 3 children in Ireland, and then they decided they would move to England, just basically striving. And then I was born in England, and then they were still struggling. And then this opportunity came along, the 10-pound pom deal.
Yeah.
And so they brought the whole family to Australia in 1966, and we landed in Adelaide, and I started school at Elizabeth Park. So I was there for about 5 years, and then we moved on to Sydney.
Fantastic.
But yeah, it was a good start, and that's why I think I have this little connection to Adelaide.
Yeah.
I've been back a number of times to work at the Adelaide Festival Centre, and I've worked at the Adelaide Cabaret a couple of times. I did Chicago here, West Side Story, a play called Bombshells at the Dunstan Playhouse. I just love coming back to work here, and very thrilled about the Barbara Streisand show coming here in December.
I've got to say, I think Barbara Streisand is one of the greatest singers who's ever lived. But when you think about her career, both as a musician but also as an actor, she's such a great comic actor, and she's such a great serious dramatic actor. Like, you think about films like The Way We Were, but then also, a film like Yentl, which is quite left field, but then
The Mirror Has Two Faces.
Yeah, but then there's What's Up Pussycat, and even more recently, was it Meet the Fockers, where she played the mum, which was the sex therapist?
Yeah, she can do anything.
She
really is the master of everything.
So where do you start when you're trying to cover a career that's so diverse?
6 decades of success, covering all of those areas, and pop music, musical theatre, or even delving to perhaps opera in a way. Yeah, it's really hard. Imagine we only have like 2 hours to do this show, and we have to sort of celebrate all of those great hits. That's what we concentrate on, really, is the music, and what she's mostly famous for. You know, we try to think about what the audience would like to hear and cover those different decades. So there was a little bit of fighting going on about who was going to do Guilty and who was, you know, those great songs like Woman in Love and I Sing Don't Rain in My Parade and People from Funny Girl, which is one of those comedic movies that you're talking about. You know, it's just there's so much material.
What's your favourite Barbara song to sing?
Oh, it's really hard. I love singing Don't Rain on My Parade because it's thrilling. And can you imagine with the Adelaide Symphony, that massive sound? But I also love singing The Way We Were. I think it's one of the most beautiful songs ever written. And just that humming, you know.
How hard is it to nail that note, though, where she goes, we simply choose to forget? Like, there's all sorts of stuff going on in that note.
Yeah, no, it's really hard to sort of, like, sing a Barbara Streisand song full stop because she's so beloved, you know, and that sound is so special and there'll never be another Barbara Streisand. So there's a lot of pressure on to sing her music. We just have to do, you know, homage to her the best we possibly can. But it's a lot of pressure because you can imagine the people that come to see this show are huge fans.
Yeah, that's right. Did the way in which this comes about, was this your brainchild that you go and team up with the symphony orchestra?
Oh, I'd love to think it was my idea, but it wasn't. It was Mark Sutcliffe. He's a fantastic producer and a big fan of Barbara Streisand.
Okay.
And it just seemed crazy that she's turning 80. Well, she turned 80 this year, and nobody seemed to be sort of having any major celebration for her. We hadn't heard about anything, so he was like, wow, why don't we do something and get the symphony involved? Because she always does everything with such class. Everything she does, all the music she produces, all the movies she produces are always done on such a grand scale that it seemed it would be a crime, excuse me, not to do it with an orchestra, you know, and the Adelaide Symphony is fantastic.
Who do you do the duet of You Don't Bring Me Flowers with?
I don't do that one. That is actually, there are other people in the show. We have Ryan Gonzalez, who's currently in Moulin Rouge, is in the show. Elise McCann, people might remember her from Matilda the musical, and also Katie Noonan is in the show. So You Don't Bring Me Flowers will be Ryan and Elise. I get to sing a song called One Less Bell, which is probably not as well known, but it's a beautiful duet with Elise. And it's hilarious because Barbara Streisand actually recorded that with herself.
Really?
She did the duet with herself, which I thought was really interesting, you know, like that she
Apparently
can do.
when she did that duet with Neil Diamond of You Don't Bring Me Flowers, they weren't even in the studio together.
No, apparently not. And that's a great song, isn't it?
But you think about that song, like, this is the ultimate breakup song about this relationship that's just died. And there's such an intensity to it.
Yes.
But you think they're just laying down their tracks, one in LA, one in New York. It's crazy.
Great actors, great singing actors. You know, those sort of actors that move you with their voice. It's not just the voice, but it's the performance of the song. Yeah, there's just the selection to choose from with this show was just crazy. The amount of material. We could have done 2 nights of Barbara Streisand.
In that vein, then, what kind of opportunity do you have to rehearse in the lead up to with the symphony orchestra?
Well, we have done it once before. We did it a while back with the Melbourne Symphony, and so we weren't sure how that would go. You know, we really didn't know it would be such a success, and the audience has absolutely loved it. So then now, because we've done it, it's we've got it in our bodies. It's just a matter of now rehearsing again with the new orchestra. We have a fantastic conductor called Vanessa Scammell. She's just brilliant, and so she guides us really well. And we'll just get together in a rehearsal room, go through the songs with the piano, and just fine tune things, and off we go.
And it's in the Festival Theatre too, which is one of the best places to see anything.
Look, I'm doing a show there at the moment. I'm doing 9 to 5 at the moment.
Yeah, right.
There, and that theatre has got the most fantastic sound. And also just the connection with the audience. You just feel closer than any other, I shouldn't say this, that every other venue we've been to in Australia. It just feels so intimate, such a fantastic experience. So I've loved doing the show, our show at the moment in the festival.
A lot of people say that. I think we've had the entire cast of 9 to 5 in. Eddie Purkey, we've had Casey Donovan, I think Marina Prizeman.
Oh, well, that's good. I'm here now.
Yeah, no, we've pretty much rounded out. Is there anyone we've missed?
Well, I do a duet with Eddie Perfect in the show called Heart to Heart, and we just have a ball. I mean, it's a crazy, crazy number in this, the fantasy sequence, and we just have such fun. Yeah, it's brilliant.
He was in here only a few days ago.
Exactly right.
Sitting exactly where you are now.
He's a great guy,
Great to have you here in in the studio to talk about the show you're currently doing and the one that is coming up as well.
It's nice to be busy after the whole COVID thing, if you know what I mean.
Totally.
It's been a tough time.
Thank God that's over.
Yeah, we were decimated, the theatre community for
Yeah,
those 2
for
years.
sure.
There was nothing. And so
And
now
no
we're just
support or anything either.
ecstatic to be back on stage. It's great.
Friday 2nd, Saturday 3rd of December at 7:30 at the Festival Theatre. You can get your tickets aso.com.au as well. Caroline O'Connor, great to have you in the studio.
Thank you so much,
Really
guys.
appreciate it. Meet you.
Oh, it's lovely to meet you guys too.
All right, let's check traffic. With summer just around the corner, beat the rush and get all your air conditioning sorted now with Mannix.
At Kintown, look out for a crash. Flinders Street's at Fullerton Road. Got debris on the road there. Another collision. This one's at Croydon, South Road at Port Road. And Burnside, you'll find a burst water main this morning. Greenhill Road near Glenburn Road. Got a lane closed with speeds down to 40. Busy at the moment, the freeway at Cross Road with cameras Robe Terrace North Adelaide and Nottage Terrace at Medindi. At Ampol Foodery, every stop is covered. The referred to go stops, coffee, milk and bread stops. When you need to keep moving, Ampol Foodery is worth a stop. Ampol, Australia's own. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Everyday low prices, any time of year. Trust the mighty South Aussies. Great food lives here. Foodland, the mighty South Aussies, yeah. Foodland, the mighty South.
You're watching the 5AA live stream, thanks to Foodland.
Mighty South Aussies, yeah.
Like, one day we'll take the whole family to Disneyland. Or I'll definitely start my fitness regime tomorrow. At Bob Burns Blinds, we have a promise we always keep. It's our 10-day installation promise. Unlike others, our quality roller blinds are made right here in SA, not interstate. So instead of waiting 3 months or more for your roller blinds, we'll do it in 10 days. And that's a promise. bobburnsblinds.com.au.
Now, David, we were talking about Mount Barker's VIP night last week, and look, I've got some exciting news.
Yes, this is Woller's glittering night of nights.
Oh, yeah.
We've been along to several of these, and it is always an absolute sensation. Now, I spoke to James the other day. The Mount Barker night was an absolute sensation. The Wohlers family had more than 300 people there, giving away prizes all night long, which is their whole MO. What is more exciting than that, Will?
Well, this Wednesday, it's time for Richmond's VIP night.
And it is going to be huge.
Wohlers have over $10,000 in giveaways, and everyone is invited. There are also spot specials for one night only with refreshments and even nibbles.
It really is a genuinely good night out, and it's fun because it's social, but you can shop, you can win stuff, and guests have the chance too to meet James and the rest of the Wohlers family. It's a very exciting night.
So this is the detail. Richmond VIP night, tomorrow night, Wednesday 19th, runs from 4:30 to 7:30 at night, that is, of course, Wohlers Richmond.
And if you love their Tanunda store, don't worry, the VIP night is coming up soon. Check the Wohlers Facebook page for details.
Here at 5AA, we're all about supporting local. Summer is just around the corner, so now's the time to beat the rush and get your air conditioning sorted with Mannix. Remember, nobody beats Mannix.
How does a work van become a brilliant business asset? This was the question keeping Hyundai on their toes. After a lot of late nights, we had our answer. The Hyundai Staria Load. It fits in everything you need for work, including next-gen tech, a 5-star ANCAP safety, and platinum crash avoidance rating. The Hyundai Staria Load from $47,990 drive away for ABN holders. T's and C's apply. Visit Hyundai.com.au. Imagine that. Hyundai.
Kate Collins and Brendan Raglas, the faces you know and the team you can trust. 9 News, made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
12 to 9, if you're watching just a moment. Paul in Evanston Park's called in. Morning to you, Paul.
Hey, good morning, boys. How are you?
Good, mate.
Thanks, Paul.
Hey, mate, I just wanted to comment on the interview with Caroline O'Connor. Like, it's a real joy to hear people who just love what they do.
Yeah.
And it comes through so clearly, and I give you guys a real pat on the back, and obviously the producers, for getting people on that consistently give us that uplift.
Yeah, well, we
because
want that.
I think Yeah, if you can find something that you love and then make a living out of it, gee, you've made the stage, haven't you?
Absolutely, Paul. Well said, mate.
We don't want to sit here spending the entire morning talking about power bills.
Yeah,
you need a bit of light and shade.
Exactly right
in life.
The world's not
I love that
entirely
interview.
miserable. Yeah, he's great
fun.
Paul makes a great. It's always enthralling listening to people who are passionate about a subject talk about the thing they care most about. I think it's just.
Yeah,
they bring an enthusiasm and joy to it that even if it's not your thing, it's interesting to listen to. Fuel Watch, download the free My RA app today and find the cheapest fuel in an instant. Here are the cheap spots: Liberty Moringi Avenue, Camden Park, $1.79.5. The Liberty Northeast Road, Windsor Gardens, $9.5. Liberty Clare Street, Port Adelaide, $65.5 is significantly cheaper than other spots. The cheapest diesel, unbelievable, Southern Cross Grange Road, Fulham Gardens, $2.20.9. Cheap.
Cheap-ass.
Cheap. Our next guest is Olivia Nasaris, the Executive Director of the Hospital Research Foundation. We were talking a little bit earlier about this really intriguing initiative with regard to putting warnings about meth use on things like pizza boxes or in places like gaming advertisements that pop up on forums and in various places to try and get to the hardest group to target, young people, the same group that tends to be most susceptible to methamphetamine use. Olivia, good morning to you. Talk to us a bit about how this initiative came about.
It came about from a study that Associate Professor Gabby Todd did at the University of South Australia, which initiated because when we use mice in experiments and research with Parkinson's, they give them meth to mimic Parkinsonian symptoms. And so her thoughts were, if meth, can give mice Parkinsonian symptoms, what does it do in humans? And that started her research, which started a few years ago.
That's extraordinary. So how do the symptoms? I would have thought giving people meth is like the last thing you'd want to do.
Well, you're giving mice methamphetamine so that we can do research to improve the lives of people living with Parkinson's. However, what she found was that people that use meth as little as 5 times develop Parkinsonian symptoms, so movement disorders. So in the ad campaign, you'll see that we use the hand, and that's to highlight the debilitating effects that it has on movement.
This is the thing, hearing some of the comments made by the Health Minister, Chris Picton, about this yesterday, it does seem to be the one drug which more than any other does honour the time-honoured parental warning about all drugs, which is you might try this once and you'll be hooked. But with meth, there's so much evidence that people just have a bit of a flirtation with it and, barely weeks later, they're completely screwed up by it.
Oh, I totally agree, and that's why this campaign is aiming to prevent the uptake as well as reduce current usage. So we're hoping to target those 2 groups. 1, don't try it, and number 2, if you're on it, DASA, we want to help you get off it.
The Parkinson's component, and obviously it's close to your heart, Olivia, because that's the branch you're involved with, the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery, is a real opener. I wasn't aware of the long-term effects being something that we can wrap our heads around, like Parkinson's. Everyone understands that and the symptoms of that long-term. But I'm also fascinated with the manner in which the delivery mechanism was developed for the message here, pizza boxes and other places. How many different versions of that were there before it was ultimately settled on that this was a good way to get the message out there?
Well, the actual research that was done at the University of South Australia also included how best to get the campaign out there. So the primary target is 18 to 24, slightly skewed at males. And so pubs, clubs, bars, social media such as Snapchat, YouTube, all of those things is we're hoping to get in front of the eyes of someone that will see it and then prevent them from actually taking it the first time.
Yeah, no, it's a very clever technique, and hopefully the message will get through. I mean, even if it's one of those things in a subliminal way where, while you're reaching for your meat lovers or your ham and pineapple, it just plants the seed in your brain that you're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah. Olivia, thank you. Olivia Nasaris, the Executive Director of Hospital Research Foundation, the Parkinson's branch. I wasn't aware of that. I knew there was the immediate concerns about addiction and some of the issues that methamphetamine use caused, but not the long-term ramifications in just, what did she say, 5 uses?
Yeah.
5 times.
The best advertisement against it is the court system. Like, just every single... You almost... There we go, page 4, there's one. I'm just going to go through the paper. Another one on...
If you look at the magistrates' court and the order of proceedings or the statements, and look at methamphetamine use, I don't know what they'd do for a crust if it wasn't for it.
Well, there was the defence lawyer in Murray Bridge a couple of weeks ago who came out and said, look, I just feel like I'm a rat in a wheel here. You know, like this is just... There's a certain subsection within our community where meth has just taken hold, and I just feel like I'm just going through the motions. And I'm paraphrasing here because it's a few weeks since I read the article, but he basically said, with a sense of discomfort, this has almost become my business model now.
Yeah,
like I just represent these people habitually. It's just a scourge.
All right, let's go behind closed doors. Thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight, distribution, warehousing, and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast on 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed
News and issues that matter to Adelaide. This is Leon Biner.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us this morning. A lot to get to.
Better make the most of it.
And always remember, this program is nothing without you and your input.
Pretty soon you'll realise it's nothing without me too.
Today we're going to be addressing what I think is the elephant in the room. We'll be asking the question I think everybody wants answered, and that is, will the elephant have its contract renewed? Don't forget the number.
You'll miss me.
8223
ungrateful bastards.
0000, and of course that email address is offair at last, be nice to relax. I mean on air at 5AA.com.au, and the text line 044. Oh, who cares? Well, that felt good. Now, some of the other topics we'll be looking at today, and we'll be getting some of our experts involved to help with this. We'll have an emeritus professor on, and also someone from the CSIRO to tell us how happy they'll be next year when they can get on with some important research without having to be constantly on call to answer my probing questions. Let's say hello to Janine. Good morning, Janine.
Oh, hello, Leon. Thank you for taking my call.
Pleasure.
Don't get used to it.
I have a house which I've lived in for a long time, and I'm thinking of selling it next year. Is there someone I can talk to about that?
So you're selling your house when?
It will be early next year.
Yep, not my problem.
Oh, yeah, Leon.
He's coming up after 9 o'clock. Leon Biner, you can give him a call on 8223 0000.
A few more texts here about Barbara Streisand. One, Barbara Streisand was great in the Carry On films. That's from Rob. And another one here, I love the song Evergreen from the original version of A Star Is Born with Chris Christopherson. That's a depressing old movie, isn't it?
Well, yeah, well, they made the remake recently. It was a huge
we're just talking
smash
about meth.
With
A Star Is Born makes you rethink your seventh drink, doesn't it? Particularly the scene where the poor bugger's up on stage.
Oh, yeah.
Quite putrid, isn't it?
Who's the most recent? Bradley Cooper?
Yeah, Bradley Cooper.
4 to 9. Hey, yeah, speaking of music, but in a much happier thing, and we do this because I think through reinforcing good behaviour, we're trying to encourage it at this point. So we're going to shout out New Zealand superstar Lord, who's coming to Adelaide, because I think anyone who comes to Adelaide deserves a shout out right now.
And we'll never be royal. It's a running
16th of March. That's what you get. That's our promise to you. We'll celebrate any major artist who just deigns to come to Adelaide. They'll be feted as a hero on 5AA Breakfast.
Bruce Springsteen covered that song.
Did he really?
Yeah, when he did his last Australian and New Zealand tour, every town he played in, he did a local song as part of his encore. And when he was in New Zealand, he did Royals. And when he was in, I'm pretty sure the Adelaide show, he played Just Like Firewood by the Saints. The late, great Chris Bailey. Excellent song, Just Like Firewood.
Another story to monitor over the course of the day. It comes from the Sydney Morning Herald. Test captain Pat Cummins, according to the reports, fronted Cricket Australia's chief executive Nick Hockley with ethical obligations to Alinta's contract with the Australian team. This, of course, comes hot on the heels of the Australian netball team raising objections about Hancock prospecting being on their top. This was a $40 million sponsorship deal They extended it for 1 year, Cricket Australia, but it has now come to an end. And Pat Cummins is on the record talking extensively about this in his meetings with the head of Cricket Australia. He says, I think the most obvious front of mind things you can see is who we partner with. So I hope that when we think of who we want to align with, we want to invite into being part of cricket. I hope climate is a real priority. I've got my own personal views. So when it comes to personal sponsorships, there are some companies I wouldn't want to align with. When we're getting money, whether it's programs for junior cricket, grassroots, things for fans around Australia, I feel a real responsibility with that. We're doing on balance what is the right thing. Now, Alinta, a bit like Hancock Prospecting, came to the rescue of cricket in 2018 when no one really wanted to sponsor the joint. The piece of evidence that is most offensive, apparently cited by Pat Cummins, is that the parent company of Alinta, Pioneer Sail, are one of the highest carbon emitters in this country. I would suggest if major sport's going to rule out the mining industry in Australia as a potential sponsor, they're going to be doing themselves a serious disservice going forward. This industry is fundamental to how Australia works. Power, mining.
What are the three letters that appear front and centre on the AFLW Crows team's jumper?
BHP. And there should be
the big Australian.
These people they're not running sweatshops. It's not slavery.
Well, I just sort of wonder where it all ends. Like, for Pat Cummins, maybe there's a broader sort of, existential question. Given the extent that cricket is reliant on catching jumbo jets to go everywhere, are we at a point as a species where 22 blokes hitting a leather ball with a piece of wood, is it really so important that we need to keep underwriting the aviation industry? Shouldn't we tread more lightly on Mother Earth, Pat?
Well, maybe that needs to be raised with him.
Maybe they should make Dave Warner captain, because I tell you, we wouldn't be having these conversations.
Wouldn't have that on a Dave's watch. Leon Biner's coming up. We'll catch you tomorrow from 6.
Ladies, do you feel like your entire day revolves around your bladder? Caruso's Wee-Less relieves the annoying and inconvenient feeling that you need to go to the bathroom too often.